Second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boards over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
What's going on out there? Turn 2 Terribles, episode 20, coming at you. It's Jimmy here with Josh. Nice to see you.
I'm back.
Chris, nice to see you. Josh, it's been a minute since the OG3 have been here. I feel like it's been far too long. How's everything going for you? I know you were been dealing with some stuff at home and everything. How's everything going? All right.
Killed the queen.
Good.
Killed the queen over here.
Good. Brought a hurricane, killed the queen, everything.
just a big.
Been a little busy.
Josh is he's just a path of destruction, boys. Trying to get fake penalties called on his quarterback. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck Tom Brady. That was a wild call. So we got a little bit to talk about this week. Let's get to the end of the season here, guys. But we did have the World of Outlaws at Port Royal. We're going to talk about that. Anthony Macri sweeping the weekend in convincing fashion. We'll talk the All-Star finale briefly. Maybe preview what's left of the season. Really, there's only a couple of races left. Points are coming down in the World of Outlaws. We'll also talk naturally about NASCAR and the best playoff system in the entire world.
Oh, we got thoughts, boys. We got fucking thoughts.
I think one person has thoughts here, and he's finally gonna let them loose, and I can't wait. We'll preview, that playoff picture. We'll pick our final four now that the stage is set for the round of 8, and we'll talk about iRacing. So let's kick it off with the World of Outlaws. I was there over the weekend for both nights, and it was chilly. It was very cold, but about 40 cars for both nights for the World of Outlaws coming in the Port Royal Speedway. Decent weather. It was a little chilly, but it was good weather. And Anthony Macri completely just slapped the competition for his first 2 career Outlaw wins, giving him 23 wins total, I believe, on the year, which is insane. Out of... Go ahead.
What's his purse on the year?
He has to be. I didn't see anything updated, but he was like third-ish.
I think he was third last I saw, behind Marks and Hodden or Shots. I think because of the Knoxville Nationals.
And he was close to 300.
I mean,
Right.
for a guy that's not on like World of Outlaws, that's not traveled on the big stage, it's got to be insane.
Yeah, I mean He won the Tuscarora 50, which was
65.
65 to win.
60.
60, something like
One of
that.
those
It was pretty big. He went out and won a $20,000 race out in the Midwest, the Rudine race.
Right.
He's won a lot around here, which are good paying races. So yeah, he was around 300,000 last time I saw. I'd be interested in seeing what the update is after points and everything. Everybody gets points bonuses too for these tracks and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I mean Friday night, man, 40 cars, um, and I was so hyped. That is the most impressive. That's the most impressed I've ever been by Anthony Macri. He had to battle Donnie Schatz in his heat. They went back and forth. He just they kept trading position, and he got around him, and then he had to do it again in the dash, and he did it, and then went out and won the feature in convincing fashion. Super impressed. I think what was even more impressive is I don't believe Bernie was there as crew chief, so I don't even know who the hell was working on his car. He said it in Victory Lane, but I don't remember.
Well, isn't Ryan Hand still his crew chief?
Right. But, there's a lot of changes with that team earlier this year, and you didn't really know what was going to happen after kind of the blow up. And he's had the most success he's ever had after the change. So maybe it was better for everybody, at the end of the day. So, now it's just kind of like, so Friday night it was all posse on the podium, and going into Saturday between 5 All-Star races and 2 World of Outlaw races, not one national touring driver was on the podium all year at Port Royal. It's been nothing but posse. It's been nothing but local guys, and I think you could sprinkle in a couple of true outlaws in there, but pretty much all local guys when the National Touring Series came in, and they kept it going too into Saturday night. Macri wins again. Brett Marks was second, and David Gravel finally getting one for the big boys, getting a third, getting the only podium spot out of it was 28 or 32 or something like that.
28 total, yeah.
28 total. So Port Royal has probably the best competition in the area. Don't at me, even compared to Williams Grove and Lincoln. You get a lot of overlap there, clearly, but I think Logan Wagner really kind of put that over the top because he's really, really good there. Obviously, he has 5 straight titles. So,
You mean the guy that missed the show on Saturday?
Well, he didn't need to. And he also got second on Friday night. So,
Anthony Macri, his winnings so far, according to SprintCarRatings.com, 393, 348, almost
damn.
400,000.
And there's still a couple of I mean, there's National Open still to happen here. That's 75,000 to win, and then I'm sure I would imagine you would go down to the World Finals. Why not keep this train going? You probably win some more money there.
23 wins in the year.
We talked a lot this year, and justifiably so, about Brett Marks' season. Obviously, going to Eldora, doing what he did, just ripping them off, and now the last half of the season has kind of been Macri's, kind of mirroring Brent here. In the later half of the season, and they're both posse guys, and the only thing is, I don't see that staying that way next year. I see these guys probably at least going out of PA, maybe a little bit more, but especially Macri, I don't see him. Chris, what do you think is his future?
We're gonna find out. I think next year is the turning point. If he's gonna go, there's not a harder name in the country now than him, right? So if you're gonna go out and do it, to get a top tier ride, all star, or otherwise, this is the off season to do it, right?
Yep.
I think if he doesn't do that, I don't see him doing much different or taking. I don't see that 39 car going all star tour. 39.
No.
I don't see it. I think it's either he's going to a ride or he's going to keep doing the same thing. But I think if he ever wants to go outlaw or all star, he needs this off season is the time because you're not going to have. He's leading the nation in wins.
Yeah, his stock is never going to be higher, I don't think, even if he has a crazier season somehow next year. Which I don't see that.
The only way he does it if he goes and does what Brett Marks did, and some of those wins just be marquee wins, which he has to score 50, sure. So you don't go with National Open again.
Yep.
But even still, that's not. Touch score 50 is closer, but Silversmith National Open is not historical big one. Is not the Kings Royal.
No.
So and it's not even. So I think big, but not Brent Marks big. Right.
No, absolutely
not as far as wins go, but he's showing he's able to go to different tracks and do different things. Even Lance said it in his interview Friday. He ran the bottom. Straight took Lance Deweese's line away and drove away.
Yes,
so they're showing a maturation of a driver there. That's kind of taken that next step. He's not just the wall banger that was fast as hell at Port until the wheel went flying off the track.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of, prettied up a little bit. So I think if he's going to go, short of going to Knoxville for a year, which is a waste of time.
No.
Because that's really one of his struggles is Knoxville. But, you don't go there for a season.
No.
That's just...
There's some guys that do that, and a lot of those guys that go out of their way to go run at Knoxville, outside of
they get wiped.
Gary Madsen maybe, or Aaron Reitzel.
When a traveling series comes in, they get wiped.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't really have any shot at the Knoxville Nationals, which is what you're there at Knoxville really to do, is get better for that. So, yeah, I think Macri gets a ride. I think he gets an outlaw ride.
I just hope he picks the right ride. Because that's almost as important as getting a ride is making sure it's the right one. If he gets a bunch of offers, and you spent such a basin as an example, or even Brock, he had that 70 car, both of them, when that weird blue 70 car All-Stars, and look how that went for them.
Right.
And that kind of sets you back.
Yeah, I mean, Baston and Brock both went to that 70 car at the same time, and I think Brock actually, Baston tore up pretty much the entire fleet. Anyway.
So, but a ride like that, or you look at Brent Marks going to that 5 car, it didn't work for different reasons. You have to kind of know the situation and know what you're getting into.
The knee-jerk reaction is to Macri, why don't you just go do what Brent Marks is doing, because you get to stay at home, win a lot of money at home, go out, go win these big races. This is what the Brent Marks season that he's had is as unique as what Kyle Larson's was in 2020. It's just never going to be. It's never going to be repeated, and if it is, it's going to be so tough. It's going to be different. They're also on different parts of their career. Brent did the outlaw thing on his own or with another team. He's been around for a long time.
Right, and I feel like
if Macri's the other way, he's just coming into it.
And I think it goes kind of like Brent Marks, to me, is doing more like a Brian Brown approach. I remember hearing an interview with Brian Brown years ago in Wing Nation, that when he was with Casey's in the 6 car way back when on the Outlaw Tour, he got fired. And he learned that if he ever wanted to make sure he was never going to get fired again, run his own team.
Right.
And be a marketable guy with your own team. That's kind of what Brent Marks is doing.
Yep.
He's like, you know what? I'm not going to put myself in a bad situation because I'm just going to run the bitch and run the whole team and take care of my partners. And that's his choice. I don't think Macri's capable of doing that yet. He's too young, like you said. He's got to go out and get punched in the teeth like Brent Marks did, like Jacob Allen did.
I think I still have a feeling that Macri ends up in a Casey Kane affiliated ride. I really do. I think he's either in that Roth car, or maybe he runs that 9 car full time. I think obviously I think either one of those situations is ideal for someone like Macri. That's the situation you want to go into if you're going to go do it. If not,
try to get Tony Stewart. You need to be paid. Tony Stewart, someone like that.
Somebody, because
get paired with Shots, get paired with Sweet to kind of learn off of them in a professional organization.
Just also other things that I'm kind of hearing rumblings of is he's got to have to do something, because I don't know if that 39 car goes back out next year, even locally.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
now, here's a hot shot for your grumblings. We already know there's a 3rd Shock Racing car just trolling around.
No, I don't see it.
It has an M on it.
I don't know what type of relationship they have. The reason I say the KCK thing is because there's already a relationship built up there from last year. You know what I mean? They kind of have worked together in a little bit of a way. I think Macri sold his hauler to Casey Kane or something like that. I remember Casey Kane running out of one of the 39 trailers or something like that. So obviously my point is that's kind
There's
of
a connection there.
And he switched to Kane shocks as well with this move. So
I could see It
Well,
makes sense.
here's an outsider look at it. What's the for World of Outlaws? I mean, you got a guy that's picking what he wants to go run and going and running it. And this year, if he keeps winning, he's going to be looking at making $500,000
Mm-hmm.
just in purse alone.
But
I
you
mean,
need to
would
go
World of
take your.
Outlaws be a pay cut if you're going to go run World of Outlaws and just run what they make you run and
We
Well, you
these tougher
see,
competitions?
we consistently hear it from team owners on social media lately because it's a hot topic issue,
Yeah,
which I'm
that's-
sure we're going to talk about a lot this offseason. $1 to $2 million you need just to run a team full time. So that
break even.
just to
To even
break
have a chance to break even.
So and to try to make $500,000 in winnings is a tough ask
Right.
unless you're really like Brad Sweet right now. He's kind of behind all these guys in earnings, but if he holds right now in playoffs, sorry,
Fucking wish.
foreshadowing.
You bitch.
In the points, he's going to get another $200,000 bonus on top of all of his winnings already. So that kind of helps, but man, it's expensive to try to run this tour full time, especially when they lost like 20 races this year almost. And when you think about it, maybe about 15 now because if they make some of these up, but. So there's a lot of money right there that there's weeks at a time where they're like sitting dormant, not making any money, not selling merch, not getting any purse, and having to pay them and their crew to be out on the road. So it's a hot button issue on who's actually going to run the Outlaw Tour next year because they're not allowed to go run anywhere else,
Right.
and go make up that money. So yeah, 500,000 is a pretty good payday. It kind of makes it lucrative for these guys to go out onto the tour. But when you start hearing that, it's like now if you're an already established team like a Brett Marks or even the 39M, where you already have equipment and stuff, you have a little bit of a start on it.
But even then, if you think about even using Brent Marks as the example, the reason his money is so high because he won 2 Crown Jewel races and beat the Outlaws in Texas, beat the Outlaws at Williams Grove. So it's even though he's not having
the highest paying races,
right? So he has that money because he went out and performed in those races.
Yes.
Without necessarily all the expenses of going to California and things like that, but
yes.
Still,
California swings are really the ones that kill these teams that are on East Coast or even Midwest.
And it's just, I don't know.
Well, I'm sure the Florida stretch at the beginning, I mean, that's probably...
Yeah, but that's a good time for them to shake the motor down.
Yeah,
so honestly.
And there's a lot of local guys here that go down just for that, too, to get away from the weather, go shake things down, and it's only for like a week or two, and it's kind
a lot of
people...
They
treat it like a vacation, exactly.
Right. Yeah, I'll say that. Preseason on the beach.
Yeah,
that's why like our guys go down there. It's a vacation. They're taking it seriously. Don't be wrong, but it's not make or break in their year. It's February, right? Like they're hopefully not hurting him. They're not doing a Casey Kane that actually did affect his whole season.
Yeah,
but overall, you're getting laps at a place that you're never gonna see again until next February because no big money happens there.
Back down there after February. They never go back down
because it won't get rained out or a gator eat you or something. So, so at the end of the day. That's just for them to shake down new parts, new stuff, and just kind of take a trip down south where it's warm and like, hey, let's test this whole girl out.
Right.
At least that's how I see it. Now, this would be a good question for like when we have a guest on in the off season, like a Dakota or something like that. For a team, what does it do? I don't know, but
I don't know. I mean, you have to go. I think a lot of people just take it as preseason, shake it down.
It's like the All Stars. That's their points races for them when the All Stars are there. That's just it's a mini series.
It's like a mini series. It doesn't really kick off the season. The point season doesn't really kick off until March.
And then the Outlaws, I think that is points, but there's 94 races. So if you have a bad one, you'll be okay.
Yeah,
probably.
But yeah, I mean, I think. If Mac Reese, he showed so much maturity. You said it again on Friday too. That was another thing. So, watching him against Shots, not only in the heat but in the dash, was super impressive. But then, late race restart, you have Lance Deweese coming, and you go and you run. He's been hammering the top the whole night. The cut down line coming out of 4 was really strong for him, and he knew the Lance line. and he could
Right.
run the lance line and took the lance line away and was able to protect. And that is just
The
it
next
showed a lot of
thing.
maturity. It showed him taking the next step, and I
But,
think him doing against the Outlaws, he's going to get calls if he's not already.
and then fast forward to Saturday. So we talked about guys that are the who of the year. We talked about Lance, Brent Marks, Gravel, Sweet, Shots. He took it to all of them on Saturday and drove right on the outside of Brent Marks.
Mm-hmm.
They go
Yep.
back to like, up on the wall, basically made a car just flip right through, like he's just like gone.
Mm-hmm.
And outpaced Gravel and Shots for most of that feature before getting to Brent Marks and just driving past him and
Mm-hmm.
running like hell. So the who of sprint car, he took it to him all weekend.
Yeah. It
Minus,
was
never mind. He's not a who.
who?
Danny.
I'm not going to go there. Yeah, no, it was. I was super impressed with Macri. I mean, there's not much more to say. Yet Saturday was a little interesting. Some wrecks, unfortunately. Brock actually was in the dash, was running well, and got tangled up with McFadden in the dash, and then completely junked his shit in the feature after having to start in the rear. I felt really upset for him because he hasn't run well at. He doesn't run well at Port since he went out on the Outlaw Tour, pretty much since he left running Port Royal full time. So seeing him run well is pretty nice. But it was a disappointing finish for him. Just a little points update there. But Brad Sweet didn't struggle, but he did not. He barely was in the top 10 all
I
weekend.
think he's allergic to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's his kryptonite. This is the one reason why he doesn't clinch the title earlier. Is because you get the PA at this time, and it's like, oh, if he just goes and wins one or two races or just gets up on the podium, he could probably clinch the title. David Gravel now is like within 60 points with a couple
60,
races
I think
left.
it's like 66 back with enough races and another PA race coming.
And another PA race at a track that Brad usually
minus
struggles at.
the win at
David
Summer
Gravel,
Nationals.
And David Gravel does very well at. He's won a National Open before. He's very good at this time of year at that track. So, if this trend continues, it could be an interesting World Finals where they go in and David Gravel might be in striking distance. I don't see Brad Sweet losing the lead, though. He's too consistent. Yeah, I said like he was barely in the top 10, but he's not a guy that's going to not make the feature. He's a guy that's going to, on his worst nights, like at Port Royal, he's still a top 10 to 14 car, and for that to be your absolute worst, you're still better than everybody else.
Wouldn't it
Pretty
be
much at that
something
point.
if we had like a really tight points battle at the World Finals organically?
Again, because what last year it was it last year or the year before?
Crazy. How about it?
All you gotta do is schedule bad tracks for the points leader at the end of the year.
Or just good tracks that
Or
require talent
Yeah, pretty much.
with good competition.
Speaking of talent, Tyler Courtney wraps up another All-Star title. All-Star title. Won on Friday night at Fremont. Cole Duncan in the 11 car, which was pretty cool to see. Won on Saturday night. Place tore up tires. I know a lot of teams were not happy on Saturday night there, but good for Tyler Courtney. I mean, I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of him, but I think.
So, what do you think he's doing next year?
If he doesn't bump up to the All-Stars, or if he doesn't bump up to the Outlaws, he just keeps doing what he's doing. Either runs the All-Star Tour or just goes true Outlaw. He has the money. He has the talent to go win anywhere.
Clausen Marshall, right?
Yeah. And I know they were very happy with I saw some tweets, and they're, co-owned. The Marshall's co-owned, Sheldon Hansfield's car, which I know are not happy with the World of Outlaws the way things have been going there. Co-owned Tyler Courtney, and they're very happy with the way the All-Stars are. So, I'm just saying,
Just
I think
saying.
sponsorship's going to really affect a lot of the decisions that are made.
Right. So my thought is this: they should probably be careful with the Outlaws, mostly because of their sponsor is the same sponsor.
For how long? I don't think they're gonna. I don't think NAS sponsors that next year.
Was their stuff up?
I don't know. It's usually year by year.
Or in any case, I mean they're dumping a lot of money in. Wild idea.
The Outlaws.
What if?
The Outlaws always get like a sponsor to come in for like 3 years and then they're out. Their time's about up.
What if Sheldon and Tyler Courtney trade?
No way.
Only so
Not
Sheldon
thinking-
could go run all the whatever he wants to go.
They won't trade teams. I could
Not
see
teams. No, I meant
they pull
not
Sheldon
teams.
Hahn Shield off the
run.
Outlaw tour. I don't think
maybe
the Outlaw tour allowed
Sheldon
that to
pulls
happen.
himself off of the Outlaw tour.
I don't think they allowed that to happen.
It's getting wild in here.
And again, sponsorship's gonna dictate a lot of it because if what I'm hearing is right, with maybe NOS potentially pulling out of the Outlaw series, you better believe they're gonna probably pull out of some cars. You know, they're sponsoring a lot of cars right now throughout the
Sponsoring
country.
a lot of series.
Yeah, they sponsor a lot, and I don't know if they're getting the return on investment that they that they're looking for. So
No, they're handing out like 8 million cases of NOS a show.
hell yeah,
George has a cooler full apparently.
yeah. But I mean, you know, how many people do you know really drink NOS outside of races? Not very many. So I don't know how well it's working.
The
But-
only NOS I ever drank was the Rowdy NOS. Fun fact, that they got rid of whenever he started his Rowdy Energy.
Yeah, he started rowdy. But I don't know. I think sponsorship's going to dictate a lot of this. I think there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of dick swinging right now with the Highland series and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the sponsorship is where it's at. Go ahead, Josh.
I'll say there's probably somewhere within the sponsorship talks. There's probably a TV deal somewhere on.
I don't think so.
I don't
Really?
like how that sounds.
I wish.
No. That ruined NASCAR.
Oh.
Or I mean, it's a streaming deal, something. You know,
There's a streaming deal.
I'll say they're still
Dirt
going to
Vision.
be arguing over, like, I mean, maybe Flo's throwing money. Flo's throwing a lot of money at a lot of things. Maybe Flo's going to throw money at them and sponsor.
I can tell you, Flow Racing will not be sponsoring any full-time Outlaw car. Dirt Vision will not allow that.
Not an
Right.
outlaw car, but
And that's the thing, because like Dirt Vision and World Racing Group and the World of Outlaws are all the same thing.
yeah, they're all.
World of Outlaws have their own streaming service already. They were the granddaddy of streaming services, so to be fair, like when they had Dirt Vision Max, whatever it was called back in the day.
Yeah, but with Flow doing the High Limit Series, doing the All Star Series, getting more involved with NASCAR,
Taking it to 'em.
They're really taking it to them. So it's cheaper, it's better quality.
but-
To be honest, Dirt Vision does some good stuff with they do
Cheesy
good
graphics.
It's not even cheesy graphic. I don't even know if it's cheesy, but they do some graphical stuff well, and they also do if you want to call them fluff pieces, decent, like the stuff that fills in time, and they make the Outlaws feel more like a real
NASCAR.
sports broadcast compared to sometimes on Flow. Now Flow's gotten better with it too. Don't get me wrong, but Flow just feels like there's 2 or 3 cameras set up at a track, and you're just kind of
Right. It depends on what you're watching on Flow. Like
Yeah.
when you're watching like the weekly stuff, like Port Royal or Lincoln, whatever it is,
it feels more.
you feel like you're watching it from the booth, right?
Yeah.
Which is good enough, right? Like
Yeah.
think I'm good with it, but it's not like building an event up, right? It's not, to Jimmy's point. Like, when Dirt Vision does something, it's like talking about drivers getting this insight, even if it's right, whether it's wrong, who knows? Like, they made a huge deal of Lance never beating the Outlaws at Port Royal, but like it is 120 wins. Like, well, they've only raced there not that many times.
I need
By
to get
comparison.
Dirt Vision and try Dirt Vision out because that's the dirt side and the streaming, like Flow. What tracks on this? What tracks on this? It's so
That-
fucking annoying,
It
and it
splits.
So if you
Well,
get Dirt
like-
Vision now, you'll pay $40, and I believe it covers the World Finals. No? Yes?
I don't know. I think so.
So you'll get our National Open at Winners Grove, World Finals, and wherever the Outlaws are at this weekend. I forget. But
Plus, you get dirt car,
and Watermelon late models.
but they're pretty much done. So basically, besides the World Finals, so you get other stuff. The Dirt Vision is really starting to step up a little bit. They also got Australian tracks at the end.
Right.
In the
Australia
winter.
takes over here soon. Millbridge is on there if you want to watch some,
Millbridge.
some wild shit from.
Yeah.
Actually, so we could watch Cold Louise this week if we.
Yeah.
Or you pay $300 a year and you have everything possibly to Auto Racing Group.
Compared to Flow, which is like what, $200 for a year, and you get
I think it's
5 times the amount of racing.
Yeah, Flow's not that much.
I think it's 150 because I don't even know what they charged me last year. I don't remember even paying for it. So
and you just pay that yearly thing, and when you go and look at Dirt Vision, it's twice as much, and you get Williams Grove. If I was not in PA, it would be more worth it because I want to watch Williams Grove, but I go to Williams Grove half the races a year.
Right. And for me, when I first was doing it, we talked about it. The reason I haven't renewed Dirt Vision, actually, I started with someone the other night. It was like, I didn't renew because one, Williams Grove's on it. Great. Well, I live 7 minutes away, so if I'm watching it, then I'm clearly a tool.
You're there.
So if I'm watching it, something has gone terribly wrong. And then
they also have
Knoxville,
which has been done.
It's Saturday, and if I'm not at
Knoxville's been done since the Nationals. That's the end of their season. Their
Jackson,
short.
They have Jackson, I think, which is also Friday night. Attica's Friday night.
Attica's cool, but who cares?
It's also Friday night, so I'm at Williams Grove. And then you have Huset's on Sunday, which is kind of fun, but...
Yeah. I don't really like Huset's. I'm not a fan.
I mean, if you want something to watch, though, like if you're not you, if you're Josh looking at it, like you could do it. And that's why, that's where for me it didn't make sense because I'm either watching the Outlaw races or I'm at the track or I'm not watching any racing.
Yeah. What drives Dirt Vision is all the big events. Knoxville Nationals, Kings Royal. They have all those big races.
Because of the Outlaws.
Because of the Outlaws, exactly. Which is the dilemma, I think, that they're going to have this offseason with some teams.
Right.
Okay. No.
Tough shit.
Speaking of the Outlaws, they go to I-80 in Lakeside this week. They go to Nebraska and Kansas. I don't know.
That's going to be cold as fuck.
It'll be cold, but it won't be as bad. And then National Open makeup is next week. Yeah, it's going to be cold. I mean, it's not as bad as you think.
There's no mountains there. It's just cold.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just the risk you take scheduling it this late in the year.
Poor bastards.
Lincoln has their season finale on Saturday. Port Royal has the Short Track Super Series. Big event, 2-day event this weekend with 410s on Friday with them, which will probably bring some people out, which I thought was interesting. But every race from here on out should be at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday or a Sunday. It needs to be daytime races only. Gets to bound to be 35 degrees at night. There's no need to be out there. It's ridiculous. It was like that on Saturday. I was okay. I actually took a layer off, but again, I had to dress in layers. And I will say, well, I'll save that, but yeah, that's really it. Season's winding down. It's a little sad. If we didn't have the National Open right now, we'd be done.
Except for BAPS, yeah.
Besides BAPS, which is even that race is a toss-up, because you don't know how the weather's going to be. We could have a foot of snow on the ground by then.
That'd be fun.
It would not be fun. I don't want to think about it.
It's only 20 minutes for me, so I can make it. You'd be screwed. I don't think they have snowplows in Danville.
Yeah. Any other thoughts from the weekend? No.
I was sad I wasn't there, but beyond that,
yeah, we missed you, buddy. We had some good times on Friday and Saturday. Got to see a couple guys from other states that run posse, like Blake Deponette. He came from Ohio, and I think David Moore came from Indiana. So that was cool to see those guys and people traveling from all over. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. Especially to come to a cold ass race at the end of the season, but got to see some really good racing out of it. I was really impressed with the track, especially on Friday at Port. Saturday wasn't bad either, but It was mostly just top. But let's drink it and dump it for dirt. I did have a drink it. I was gonna save it, and now I don't remember.
Is it Friday Track Crew?
No.
You said.
Oh, the fans. They're fans on especially on Saturday. That Port was one of the more packed races I saw all year there. You know, not obviously not as much as Tuscarora 50, but pretty much on par with the summer Outlaw race and the Speed Week races, which I thought was super impressive. Grandstands were pretty full. There was a lot of people in the stands. Shout out to I can't remember their names. Reese, yes. They come down from New York, and we saw them. We met them. Season ticket holders from New York State. They come down, and they're going to be at National Open, so we'll see them again. We got to see them. The old man kept coming over to me and saying, "Behave yourself, Nightmare." So every night, I was trying to behave myself. So
I remember those guys from the 50. They were cool dudes.
Yeah.
Hopefully they come find us. Not in turn 2 at the National Open.
Nope. I told them on the backstretch. I told them where to find us.
They'll find us. Just wear your hat.
Drink it to the fans at Port Royal. It's not very many places in the country where it's going to be 30 degrees and you're going to see that many people out watching a sprint car race. It was, we do it for football. But goddamn believe we're going to do it for sprint car racing too. And our dump it, I'm going to do it to Brock Zierfoss. Such a bummer seeing him to go pretty much tear 2 cars up after qualifying really well and being in the dash to go into tearing 2 cars up. Was pretty disheartening as a fan, and I know he was pretty upset. He kept coming out on the track when they were towing his car away in the dash. He looked like he wanted to fight McFadden once or twice. So
that's a pretty expensive day, or expensive weekend.
Yeah. It went from a night where he's like, "Hey, I might be able to compete for a win," to I got drunk twice in about a half an hour, which sucked. But dump it out for him. Cheers to the fans. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Josh.
Obvious. I'm gonna take the easy one. Nope, not yet. Bader.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Ken Baum.
Ken Baum. Not yet, but soon.
Drink it. Obviously, it's Macri. Just dominating. Continuing to dominate. And then my dump it is all of these fucking streaming services. And never know. There's Dirt Vision, Flow Racing, Port TV, or whatever.
That's Lernerville TV. That's a shit.
Lernerville TV.
Yeah. Port is on.
Get their shit together. Get one thing. If they would just come together, they could do one thing. Probably have a lot of money off of a lot of ad space. And turn it into something.
I feel like if they were going to do one thing, it would be on Mav TV, and that would be a big loss. But yeah, I agree. Hell yeah. Yeah, streaming service stuff, man. They can... I like what you said, too, with the TV contract, too. I think that could really push the sport a little bit. But
don't like that. No, I learned my lesson.
The way TV is now, streaming service is just the way it is. I just wish they wouldn't make it so goddamn expensive. But I understand that they have bills to pay.
When I was gonna say when I was a kid, it was like, was it TNT? Is that what late night World of Outlaws or whatever?
TNN.
Right. That's what it was.
That was the biggest. Or when Speed was out there after that, like it was so cool to see the local guys just like, hey, I know that guy, and by know him I mean I know that car. It's fine.
We also had Demo Derby on TV too.
Wait, I'd watch the Demo Derby. Oh wait, it's a Smule race. Anyway.
I feel the tension building in Chris. Go ahead, drink it or dump it, Chris.
Drink it. Drink it for Lucas Wolf giving free beers out at the school. That was finally
school parking lot.
Finally,
listen.
Did 2 things.
Chris,
use the logo and
it wasn't.
No, I believe it. Logan Wagner does not lie. He goes, go there to get a free beer, and showed the keg. And I'm like, oh, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did you properly market your sponsor, but also you stuck it to the Outlaws. And even in Logan Wagner, so I guess tribute to him too, in his Twitter thing goes, "We have what they don't have, free beer." It's like, come
Yeah.
get it. It's like, because so, Josh, I don't know if you're familiar. Our guys can't sell their T-shirt, basically in T-shirt alley at Port Royal when the Outlaws are there.
You have to go outside the track. They
Because
sold it across. They
Because
sold
Outlaw
it.
wants their
Outlaws have it
merch.
blacked out.
There is an old school across the street from Port Royal, and that's where all of the local drivers set up their
So,
T-shirt stands.
and
That's
it's
where I
not
got
just
this shirt. It was $10.
it's not just a
They're all
PA thing.
clearance right now.
Any Outlaw show, a non-platinum member cannot sell T-shirts. So unless it's a big race, I think Knoxville, Kings Royal, Natty Open, or Williams Grove, they all kind of weaseled their way into it.
Williams Grove has a weird thing.
They've all weaseled their way into this somehow. But like outside that, they can't sell shirts. So they're all in the school across the road, just having a fucking party, posse party, and I'm here for it. Drink it up to Lucas Wolf and
I like
Orange
that
Crate
one.
Brewing and Logan Wagner
That
for
beer is
sharing
pretty.
it.
Beer is very good, by the way. It's much like if you like Blue Moon, you would very much like that number 5 Pilsner.
Noted. I need to find it. Dump it. Season's ending. 2 more races for me. I don't really have anything for this weekend. I mean, I think everything sounded great on Dirt Vision. Sucks I wasn't there, but 2 more races. You know, we got Natty 2 weeks, the 22nd, and then Baps. Unless I find my way to Port this weekend, you never know.
You really gonna go watch some fucking mud turtles?
Yes.
Desperate cops. This is what I'm saying. We were just talking about how it's like, why are we running?
I would only go on Friday. The only day I would consider is Friday because there is sprint cars there.
How many cars do you think they get there on Friday?
14.
No.
You don't think Logan Wagner and friend? No. Well, I guess it's Labor Day. $6,000 is $6,000. So.
And you still got guys in the area for National Open, probably.
No.
That Friday race might keep guys like maybe like Gio Selzy.
Brian Brown.
You got the All Stars that are off now. Justin
Yeah,
Peck might show up.
Dude, a full field would be.
I think
They get a full field. I take it back.
I think
Port Royal
I
gets a
think
full
they get
field.
like 25 or so.
Well,
depending
think,
on the
actually,
weather.
I lied because I think it's gonna rain.
Thursday's gonna rain.
All right, good. Because never mind.
So
Yeah, that's it. That's what I got.
that's it. Do you guys need a break?
I need to refuel.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Same. All right. So we're going to go to break real quick 2-3 minute break. We're going to leave you with one of the 2, Jeremy Zarfos. Jeremy's not here this week because he is running the iRacing Road to Pro, which we'll talk about a little bit later at 8:45, which is right now. So he's gearing up for that. So he was credentialed for World of Outlaws this week. He was partnered with Dirt Track Digest, and he got some really good fire shots. They're making the rounds on social media. I'm sure you'll see them. Here's one of them.
Smug Mug.
Check them out on Smug Mug. Check them out on Facebook. All that stuff.
True timber with the mountains.
Yeah, this was a cool ass shot. Definitely says October at Port Royal for sure. We will be right back. All right, we are back. Just the other photo of the week is this awesome start to a heat race, and like I said, I think this picture really encaptures. There's a lot of fans in the stands there. You know what I mean? It was, and there's a lot of people in the infield too. So pretty cool to see, and just an awesome shot by Jeremy. Also, real quick, just a little plug. We're going to be talking about it a little bit later, but also, iRacing PA Posse National Open is next Tuesday, October 18th. So come on out for that. And as always, FDS. FDS. So, NASCAR, Roval, playoffs.
AJ Allmendinger.
Chaos, man. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good. The Cup race was pretty good until the end. It just turned into a normal road course NASCAR race, which was, well, at least as of late, where guys are just running each other over, which is a little. I know it's part intensity, but it's also part them not understanding where their car's at that point in time, because when you've run 100 some laps, when you've run 100 some laps seconds apart from other people, then all of a sudden you gather them up and you have a chance to gain spots. You know, your braking points are different.
They know where the fuck
your lines
the
are
car's at.
different.
They don't care.
I know, I get that. He's already ready to fire off.
They're professional drivers. They know where the car's at. They don't care. They don't care.
Tell us how you really feel.
I think that it's especially a track like the Roval, it's a product of there is no way to pass.
Yeah.
And so if they don't have a way to pass, they're going to make a way to pass. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't put that on the drivers. I put that more on NASCAR to figure out how to make more passing zones at the Roval or something. But I mean, you got to gain positions. You got to go get them somehow.
I preface it. They just went to Talladega, where they usually all crash, and they didn't. Other than one little wreck in the early stages, they went the whole way through with no big wreck. But you probably, part of it's the intensity, but it's opportunity. To Josh's point, they can't pass, whatever. But come on.
That's why we need more short tracks, right? Can't pass at short tracks either.
You don't know what you need, but you need people not to just, I'm
just throwing that one out there because you're going to get the same product at fucking Martinsville.
No, because you won't.
Yeah, you will.
Well, yeah, hopefully, because at this point, who the fuck cares? You want Mickey Mouse, you get Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, Martinsville. Martinsville gonna be Move City.
So let's just recap Roval here before we really get into it. Christopher Bell throws a Hail Mary and gets into the fucking round of 8.
Threw a Hail Mary, he didn't even hit anybody. He's fucking dead right. Good for him.
He needed to win. That's the only way he was advancing. No, he played granted, shouts out to his team. Played the pit strategy right, put him in position at the end there to have fresh tires and really be able to drive past everybody.
He was just
he had a strong car, but he wasn't up front at all day until the end. He led 2 laps. That's it. So good for him. Makes it to the next round. Chaos ensued at the end of the race. Guys running each other over.
Can we just rewind to where Josh wants to go?
The first caution that started all of the chaos was complete bullshit because that was like, I think it was Briscoe's radio that they caught it on, and he was like, "It's been there for 20 laps."
And Denny Hamlin came out today and said, "I'm the one that hit it at the end of stage 2, and it went to the wall. It hit the wall and then fell down." He goes, "I saw it." He goes, "I can't say for sure if it was stage 2 or stage 3." It was on Twitter. Replying to, I think, Brett Griffin saying, I hit it at some point at the end of stage 2, early stage 3, and it was laying around the whole time." He goes, "But they had to throw it there because it was on the track." I guess when he said he hit it, and it went up against the wall and all these different things. So at some point it left the wall and came back on the track.
I'm saying it's laying there for 20 laps. That's just that they like to stretch what it is. It could have been there for
What?
2 laps.
Drivers
But
lie?
I think,
Never.
yeah, exactly. Just like, oh, it's fucking pouring out here and it's barely hitting the ground.
Until that one time when they said that they all right. It's like the boy cried wolf syndrome. They always say it. They always say it, and then when it's true, they don't listen.
Right, exactly. And I mean, that's kind of on them because they always fucking stretch the truth a little bit. So, but yeah, I mean, just that caution kind of bundled them all up, and then Ty Dillon. Then it was just chaos. Ty Dillon completely got junked, bunches them up again. More chaos ensues. You had Allmendinger up there, you had Harvick up there, you had Chase Elliott up there, you had Ryan Blaney up there. They all got wrecked, and that kind of opened up the door for Christopher Bell.
I was surprised Kevin Harvick did what he did because it's not. That was an old Kevin Harvick move. When he put Dinger into the dirt, I was like, that's old Kevin Harvick to do something like that. But I mean, you got to get a pass right there when you can. I mean, that's it.
Dump Elliott in the process. Yeah, let's go.
I mean, it's definitely an old Harvick move. That's an old school move.
I mean, Bill McMahon paid for it, so yeah, do whatever you want.
Who the fuck is Bill McMahon? Who the fuck is Bill McMahon?
It's Vince's brother. Owns NASCAR.
So, I'm trying to warm up to it, Chris. You're already going there. I think you just need to go. I think you just need to go up.
It's not time yet. There's so many things wrong on this end of the situation. I saw it on Xfinity race on Saturday.
Is it wrong?
Like,
I don't think it. The Xfinity
That's
race on Saturday, when the Xfinity race on Saturday started, when that race started, everybody knew who was winning that race. Maybe Gibbs could get up there and do something. Everybody knew Dinger was winning that race.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
The Cup race on Sunday. I mean, it was anybody's race. Before
Logano
it was bunched up.
The stages really flipped things. You had guys that were going for stage points, like Kyle Larson and some of these other playoff guys. And then you had guys that were throwing the Hail Mary to try to, like Christopher Bell, to go and win the race. But they needed some help, like a late race caution, and that's what they got. Really, I mean, it was Logano was the cream of the crop for most of the day. Chase Elliott, obviously, he was very well, but he really benefited from some of the pit strategy that happened, and also him having. I mean, he's obviously good too. I'm not like trying to take away from them having a good car, but there's a lot of different. It changed hands a lot. Byron was up there for a good chunk. Dinger was of course up there, but then there's movers and shakers throughout the field because of pit strategy and all that. So that's road course racing. That's
peak road course racing.
There's a lot of people on Twitter that are like, I know, like couch racers. Well, bring back the oval. Come on, man. Like, can we just not have something nice? We already have an oval race at Charlotte. You know what I mean? And then we'll complain.
I think
it's because the mile and a half. Just a year ago, this exact moment a year ago, we're complaining about mile and a half tracks. We're saying they get them all out of here. We need more road courses. We need more short tracks. We need more different shit because these mile and a halves are garbage. Now all of a sudden we want to go back to mile and a half.
No, I think.
Go
ahead, Josh.
Not only do we already have a oval race at Charlotte, it's a fucking 6-hour race every time. I mean.
So you could have a slightly shorter one later in the year?
Right. We have enough Charlotte Oval.
I think
in one
that
go.
Comes from a place of NASCAR took the good road course product they had and went balls deep in it. No. So like the Roval, I think the Roval is one of the better NASCAR road courses just for the fact of it's smaller, right? It's not like road whatever where you're 8-mile laps and caution comes out and you've got 2 laps in an hour. So I think it's just a victim. It's a victim of the situation.
I think NASCAR fans are bullshit because the way road course racing is now is what everybody wants to see on a fucking short track all the time. Everybody says we need to go back to fucking 12 short tracks so they can beat bang. And that's what you get at these road courses. Now all of a sudden we have it. We're saying this is garbage racing.
There's a difference between beating and banging.
If it was happening at Bristol or if it was happening at Martinsville, we would fucking love it.
There's a difference between beating banging
I'm
and whenever we watch an Indy road course and this road
I
race.
don't disagree with you there, but
Right.
I'm saying pick
No,
a
right.
fucking
That's
lane,
that's
figure
why
out
the
what
road
you
course
want.
thing was big, because you
Just
can get away
enjoy
with
what
it.
you have for once. You know, you have
NASCAR
entertaining
fans
racing
don't do
every
that.
weekend. You have entertaining racing every weekend. Sure, there's a little bit of debate. What we saw there was that even racing at the end. I get it, but it's also what people want. I mean, it's clear. There's a reason why Bristol is such a, besides the facility being great, it's because there's a lot of beating and banging. You're getting beaten and banging now. There's right turns involved.
Yep. Yeah, I'm for it. And this has been the most enjoyable year, I think, for road courses. They've all
Absolutely.
been good races.
Well, that's good because
Even-
the car is
even be-
built for that. Like,
Yeah.
I have no problem with road courses. Like,
Even before that, I thought it was still one of the better oval races. Before that, you didn't have a shit ton of wrecks. There's
Right.
still pit strategy involved. You had comers and goers. There's guys, getting people. You didn't need the beating and banging for it to still be a good race. Sorry, I keep
I don't
interrupting.
know.
well,
I don't-
I think that's the point right there. That Jimmy's making, I'm pointing at the screen like he's right there.
Say what? I don't say-
so, so you don't need beating and banging to have a good race. Like, it's okay that a road course race plays out like a road course race. Holy shit! Not everything has to be Jimmy Johnson wheel hopping and kicking out Truex. Not everything has to be Larson just driving it in the 42 car, banging the wall to get to the finish. Like, it could just be normal. Normal's
Yeah.
okay.
I agree. And here's the thing: even some of the media guys, Jeff Gluck. I love Jeff Gluck. I'm up at 1:00 in the morning watching the F1 race. F1 is great this year, and then complains about the Roval. It's the same fucking racing.
Expectation.
It's the same fucking shit.
Expectations are different.
Eh,
Right or wrong or indifferent. We'll come back to that. NASCAR did this.
I'm not even talking. Before the beating and banging at the end. He's like, "Let's bring back the oval. This is not a good race." And I'm like, well, I guess he didn't exactly say it like that, but
Right. No,
you know,
I know what you're
for,
saying.
for,
I
for
saw
the
it.
same people that are saying, "Oh, I love F1 racing. Look at the product that they do," even though it's a fucking, they have shorter races. I'll give them that, but it's road course racing. They're spaced out by 10 fucking seconds. They have pit strategy, sure, but you've had the same thing with NASCAR, and you just why
The expectation.
the expectation of you want them to beat the shit out of each other.
Maybe. I don't know.
So I don't
That's just
understand I don't understand why you could like F1, which I like F1 too. I don't think I have nothing. No, there's a lot of strategy and racecraft involved there, and then complain about all the road courses and stuff in NASCAR. I don't get it.
Because
I don't
NASCAR's
get it.
not built on road
NASCAR
courses.
fans are the most toxic piece of shit fans. Just because they don't know what they want. Whatever they have, they're gonna shit talk.
Because they're Americans. I think at the end of the day, like,
Without the A, they're Americans.
Americans.
So, but what I'm saying is, like, so take it from this perspective, and this is I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. If F1 introduced an oval next year, for some odd reason, and then it went really well, so they had 2. Like, oh, this is great. Now there's 7. F1
love
fans are gonna burn. Yeah, you would, but F1 fans are gonna burn down the FIA building.
They'd probably
NASCAR
also
was
kill a
built
couple
on-
drivers.
Definitely gonna kill a couple drivers. But at the same time, I guess an extreme example, NASCAR was built on ovals. You had Watkins Glen and Sonoma. I'm not saying that has to be how it is, but when you start adding 7 road courses to it now,
Kid's gonna burn down the FIA.
you're gonna people. I don't know. It just changes the expectation. If you watch F1 expecting to see an oval, then you clearly
These people don't like change, is what it is.
Well, and I guarantee, I was gonna say it's gonna
But then
happen
we'll call for change.
again next year. The drivers are gonna be bitching about it. The fans are gonna be
the
bitching
drivers
about
don't
it.
even like all these road courses.
But when we get to the Chicago Street Course next year, I guarantee you it's gonna be a damn good race. Like that race will be good.
And I disagree that the drivers don't like road courses. They don't like getting run over on road courses at a race. I think
Not
they
that they don't like
road
them. I don't
courses.
think they like that many of them. Like,
I think the amount is fine.
I mean, I'm not saying not go to them.
You have a nice diversity right now. I think NASCAR's done a good job to get more out there. It puts more in the driver's hand.
Well, and then like I mean, like to go back to Chris's point, people F1 fans, they'll like a certain driver because they like Mercedes or they like, AMG. NASCAR fucking fans are like, well, I got a Napa down the street. I like that car right there. That one's red. I like that one.
Yeah.
But
Right.
even the drivers, I mean, to this year, these, that's what I hate most about NASCAR this year is how fucking whiny the drivers are,
And
and they want to whine about safety.
it's
It,
getting
it was
worse.
the last 2 laps of that race. There wasn't a person on that fucking track worried about
They
safety.
don't give a shit. But then they'll blame NASCAR and the product
Exactly.
that they're creating when and I understand both sides, man. I do. I don't. It's always just so negative. Why can't we just have nice things? I
Right.
understand. Listen, the running over cars at the end of the race, I'm not a big fan of. But bumping them back, like up at the lead, like when like Chase Elliott getting moved out of the way and stuff. That's just hard racing. They weren't
Right.
running over each other like Ross Chastain at Coda. That was hard.
Right, and I don't think
on
any of
road.
those, even Chase didn't really. I mean, he was a little snippy about it, but he wasn't over the top when he goes,
Chase
"Oh,
didn't even really get turned. You know what I mean? Like he got turned,
well,
but
no,
like
like I saw that little. He was talking about. He kind of walked his version of it, where him and AJ. He goes, AJ kind of held me tight, missed the corner, and bumped me, and I guess he went wide, and someone else hit me. Don't know who it was, but like he was a little more negative than Chase Elliott normally is, but it wasn't like Ryan Blaney, where everyone's like, "Oh, go out there and drive and look like a dumbass." Like, oh,
Yeah.
like there's a difference there. I think to your point, you're right. Like Harvick, Chase, AJ, they were hard racing and ran out of real estate.
some of the stuff in the back is just you have cars,
Stupid.
and also I think a little bit that just gets overlooked a little bit is there was guys on 40-lap fresher tires in the back. You know what I mean?
They
That-
weren't. They didn't
and
even
they
on the.
knew it, and
Yep.
they knew they had to go out and get every single spot that they needed to. Playoffs definitely added to some of those drivers, but the pit strategy too of guys saying, you know what, I'm gonna go pit, and then I'm gonna have an advantage here these last couple laps compared to some of these guys who have stayed out on 70-lap tires.
Yeah,
Just
I
that
think,
is-
and I mean, I
That's
think too,
F1.
Go ahead, Josh.
Well, I think too that I think towards the end of the race, I think a lot happened all at once. But like on the TV broadcast, they didn't do a good enough job of saying like,
Don't
oh
you
well,
take one of my argument points away, you motherfucker.
this guy, he's got new tires, he's gonna be coming quick, and
I think they did because that's the whole reason Christopher Bell won. Maybe not everybody else, but I thought they did. I thought they did a decent job of explaining that and having graphics up to explain to you.
They did on Saturday. I didn't watch the race yesterday, to be honest.
They did on Sunday. They did the same thing. It's not as
I think they did it for like C-Bell. I think they did it for like right there up in the front. But then like all the stuff in the back, you didn't know who was where or
No.
what was going on. But I mean, there was so much happening every corner, you couldn't even keep up.
Right.
Where, I was trying to see
It was
where,
chaos.
where's Cindric at, and he went from like 4th to
Spinning.
21st to 13th in like a half a lap.
It was a roller coaster ride at the end, that's for sure.
And I can speak like for Saturday for sure when Sieg was coming up through the field, chasing after Henrik and Brandon Jones. They talked about the fresher tire advantage and things like that, but that was Saturday.
Mhm.
And I actually watched that race.
They did it on Sunday too. I'm just saying.
I tried to
Like,
watch
there
it
was
last
just
night, but I fell asleep.
there was so much other stuff going on. Is that they
Right, it's
couldn't-
chaos. It's absolute
it
chaos.
wasn't a long green flag run where they could be like, this is the only thing we got to talk about is the fresher tire deal. There's so much other shit going on in the playoffs and all that stuff. But they did hit on it. I thought they did a decent job with what was going on.
I think I enjoyed this race a lot because what I hate when it gets to playoff usually is the ones trying not to make a mistake and get themselves out. It generally, when it gets to this, it's like, okay, what do I have to do to not get kicked out? Whereas this weekend, Christopher Bell went out there and raced his way into the playoffs. Briscoe went out there and raced his way into the playoffs.
Yep.
Whereas like Larson, the whole day they were playing prevent. He was trying to just stay in.
Never play prevent defense. That's
He was racking up the points because he thought he would be all right, and I thought he was fine. I mean, he was before he broke that toe link, he was like 28 points to the good. You know, he racked up all those playoff points. He was in it until the last lap, even being back at 35th.
Yeah.
He was 100% safe until Bell took the lead
If Christopher
and
Bell doesn't win,
Briscoe passed 2 cars.
if Christopher Bell doesn't win, Kyle Larson's still in the playoffs, and Briscoe. So it was wild. It was a wild finish. You know, I feel bad for my homie Kyle Larson who fell off, apparently, according to everybody. You know, just a bummer for him breaking that toe link.
You mean the one that he drove himself in the wall for?
I mean, he did it. He should have been a little more conservative, but
Ross Chastain did the same thing.
Ross Chastain did the same thing. Daniel Suarez also got eliminated. You know, lost power steering. That was a really interesting part of the race because, man, they just kept going into his in-car, and he was in so much pain. They're watching him. He's having to put so much weight. He's having to put his hands, like, on the inside of the wheel to turn the damn thing. That was, that's why I love NBC's broadcast so much. Just a side note on there. They do so much of a better job than Fox. You know, you have real analysts and not TV personalities. You got analysts. Even Dale Jr., they're analysts. They're telling you what the hell is going on. They're not just, you know, oh, I'm a name and the face. You know, they're really telling you what's going on. So Steve Letart's so good. But that was kind of a bummer for Daniel Suarez because he was another guy. He was a factor. He was up in the top 5 almost all day.
Yep.
And this is a shame for him. Chastain, there was at one point where he had Chastain and he was in the garage, and Daniel Suarez on pit road a couple times, and you're like, oh man, what a bummer for Trackhouse, you know. And they still make it with Chastain into the round of 8, and actually in pretty good spot right here. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but Kyle Larson misses, and obviously Bowman. And Austin Cindric, Austin Cindric was in a really good spot there towards the end, got spun around in all the chaos. He ran very well all day. He was mostly in the top 10 all day as well. Michael McDowell also had a good race.
There at the end, a lot on that restart, I noticed a couple times, but Eric Jones was knocking everybody. I think he's the one that spun Cindric, but I mean, every time you saw contact, you saw that 43, and it was getting into somebody.
Yeah, and
but he was probably the first one on fresh tires or something like that. But I mean, he was being pretty aggressive there at the end.
I also do think, like, you ran 150 laps now. It's been a while since you've been around other cars. You are on fresher tires. You're pushing it a little bit harder. Track's changed. I just think some of it's a lot of misjudgment. It's a lot of misjudgment by the drivers. I don't think it's all guys just... I think it's guys driving over their heads, but I don't think they're, like, intentionally trying to bump and turn people.
No. I thought it was interesting. I think it was Briscoe that in the post-race interview, they asked him, you know, what is it about sprint car guys and road courses? And, you know, he brought up a really good point, and he was like, you know, sprint car guys at these road courses, we're just really good at kind of, I don't know how he said it, but, you know, throwing the ass out there and just trying to figure out where the grip's at. And he's like, that's what you have to do.
Pushing it to the limit, I would guess.
Yeah.
Some variation of that. Pushing it to the limit, because the sprint car, you have to, because you have 30 laps, 20 laps, 25 laps.
You don't have to worry about saving tires as much either. Not as much. You do, especially at the Roval, because the Roval's like the longest road course race we have all year. You have to worry about it a little bit, but not as much.
We just got to get to the bottom of why the hell does Jimmy not like Seabell? I just don't understand it.
There's a rivalry there with him and Larson. It's just something about Christopher Bell that just rubs me the wrong way.
He just hates people named Chris. It's fine.
I do hate people named Chris.
Yeah,
They're the fucking worst kind of people. I don't know. I don't even hate. I don't know. He's just kind of
boring.
Not a baby face, no personality type of deal with
fluffy
him.
Dog.
Yeah, and I don't even hate that because Eric Jones is kind of like that, and I like Eric Jones, and who else is kind of like that?
Is it because
William Byron's kind of like that?
Is it because Seabell took Eric Jones' ride?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Is it because he drives a Swindell speed lap car?
That's probably a little bit of it. That might be a little bit of it.
It's because he's from Oklahoma, isn't it?
I like I said, maybe the Oklahoma stuff. I don't know. He's just like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just not a fan. That's just what it is. I don't even hate it. I think hate's a strong word, even though
You literally call him C.
I call him cunt,
I
but
don't think you can say that. Pretty sure that's against the rules.
what terms of service over here to the 4 people watching.
Whoever finds
by
this
the way,
video down the road.
by the way, thank you everybody that's watching and hanging out with us, talking to chat. Jack Young, we see you on the show last week. I got to hang out with him on Friday. We're having a good time, and we also got Kim Baum, who has been Turn 2 Terrible's best driver in Full Throttle. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So shout out to you guys.
Jack Young had homecoming on Saturday. He's a grown boy.
Yeah. So let's get into it
Oh, we getting into
even
it?
more.
Let's put this banner up so all these ugly, stupid bastards.
Let's talk about the round of 8. Who's in? Who's out? And
Let's make our picks.
yeah, that's where
This
I'm
would be
saying. Here's our,
pretty easy here.
so no, I don't know about that.
Oh.
Kind of. I mean, I'm gonna rock still what 3 of my original 4,
I don't
and
even remember my 4.
Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin. I think those guys are in. I know Blaney and Hamlin are kind of like below the cut line right now, but they've been too good every week. I don't see any way they miss. And I guess my 4th guy is going to probably have to be Joey Logano. Joey Logano's been really strong lately. He's been strong really all year, and I don't want to. Kyle Larson was my other 4th, but I'm guessing I'm going to have to go with Joey Logano. But I think those are my final 4. Josh, what about you?
So mine, I think Chase Elliott.
Yep.
I mean, he's got a huge lead. He's been the most consistent, but I'm gonna go with the rest of the Fords because the Ford, they've got all the momentum. They're still running strong.
Even
So
Chase Briscoe?
I'm
Are you
putting Chase
fucking on
Briscoe in the
crack?
final 4.
I know-
Joey,
I-
Blaney, and Briscoe.
I agree with Logano and Blaney, but Briscoe's. Whew.
Get
I'm
the.
putting Briscoe in there.
I'm gonna ruin your mood in about 4 minutes.
I think when it gets down to this time of the year, it really is all about momentum, and I mean I feel like the Fords have a lot of momentum, and if you get him in the 4, you get Briscoe at Phoenix, you better watch out.
The fuck out of here.
No, I don't know
Don't
about
leave
that.
your goddamn tinfoil hat bullshit.
It would be cool. I do like Briscoe, but I just don't think it's his time yet for that. I think Christopher Bell's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Ross is obviously going to be a force to be reckoned with. Byron, I don't know. I don't even know how he's here, man. Byron, I'm still lost on that. I mean, I guess he's been pretty consistent, but shit.
24 forever, bud.
It's that Raptor matte black paint scheme.
Look at his face in that picture, man.
That's
He's
one of the
Looks
slickest
serious.
cars I've ever seen on a NASCAR track. I love that paint
He's
scheme.
so
that's a good
serious.
That's a good scheme.
Look
Ross-
at Denny Hamlin's
Ross
face.
Chastain doesn't know which way he's looking.
Denny Hamlin's got a finger up his ass right now.
Ross Chastain is washing out both sides of his face to see who's gonna wreck him.
Ross Chastain, you pick first in gym class volleyball.
So me and Josh so far, we agree on 3 of our 4. Our 4th guy, really Hamlin and Briscoe are the 2 differences
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Chris, go with your top 4. Who do you think is the
Chase
man?
Elliott.
Yep,
I think Ross Chastain weasels his way through this, boys.
I could see it.
I think it's gonna happen. We know who's not. So we got Las Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, right?
Yes.
So Chase, Ross, Logano, Hamlin, Phoenix,
Wait, you said Chase,
Logano.
Ross, well Hamlin. So we pretty much agree except for Blaney.
I would love it for Blaney, but
I think Blaney's been
He
too
had-
consistent. He's gonna get the win.
if he does the Homestead or Vegas, I don't see him winning at Martinsville. That's,
Vegas. I think Vegas.
I could see it. I could see it. I mean, I'm not against it. He deserves it because he's been top 2 in points all year long. But
Points.
I can
You're
say
talking about
this:
points here?
if they get to Martinsville and Denny Hamlin is not locked in the playoffs yet,
he's toast.
that is the last person you want on your back bumper
Absolutely. I think he wins Martinsville.
because he's super strong in Martinsville.
Yeah, he's very
He
good.
finished 30th there in the spring, by the way.
Yeah. Well, they weren't
That's because he
running very
blew
well
his
there.
engine. He
blew
didn't know how to
the fucking
shift
motor.
or
What
his
do you think
transmission.
has changed? No, he was
There's a
perfectly
lot that
fine.
changed. Toyota's in a totally different spot than they were in the beginning of the year.
False.
He didn't know how to use a sequential shifter.
They are at a
You just
mile
want
and
to
a
see
half.
Denny succeed, bro. It's okay. You can admit it.
Denny
Hey, I
Hamlin
can't
was
admit
stand
it.
Denny Hamlin. I don't want him in the championship.
I can
at
admit
all.
that I don't like Christopher Bell and I don't like some of these other guys, but
If Denny Hamlin was this championship, I'm gonna be
I
really
hope he
bored.
does. I
I'm
hope
really
he
bored on
does.
that Sunday night.
I really hope he does. I hope I don't want him to beat Mark Martin, man. I think he deserves a title. He's been
What's wrong
robbed
with
of it a
Mark
couple
Martin?
times.
Mark Martin's a good guy.
I love Mark Martin, but he's never won a title either. He's always going to be that guy.
Yeah,
He's
'cause
always
NASCAR
going to be the
screwed him.
Mark Martin. Yeah.
He couldn't hold
NASCAR
Mark Martin.
screwed Hamlin too. NASCAR screwed Hamlin this year, to be honest. So a couple times. So
Denny Hamlin couldn't hold Mark Martin's jockstrap, but that's beside the point.
I think Hamlin was better. So
I bet
I'll
Mark
take-
Martin's jockstrap's really not that big, honestly.
He's from Arkansas, so you're probably right.
He's
But
he's
he
a
could
tiny
also
dude.
kick everyone's ass. Mark Martin is
Yeah,
an absolute
Mark Martin.
ninja.
Cue up the Mark Martin what ripped abs photo.
Yeah, Mark Martin. I wouldn't fight that dude.
Right.
Fuck that dude.
Ken Baum's kept picking Kyle Busch times 4.
I mean, he'd be
bud.
right if you look
So
at
does
the
Kyle
stats.
Busch, but
Sorry about your luck. Jack Young says I was the start of the show Friday night. Thank you, bud. It was a fun time.
I will
Sorry.
say this,
So what
I've
was the picks
enjoyed
again? What's the picks?
I did.
So you
I,
did say Chase Briscoe,
So
correct? There,
we-
I
fellas?
did the Ford.
We all agreed on Chase Elliott. We all agreed on Logano.
And he did say,
Blaney Briscoe.
just confirming, not Ryan Briscoe, Chase Briscoe,
Yes.
Who the fuck is
And
Ryan
Phoenix.
Briscoe?
a better driver.
What the fuck are you talking about, bud?
IndyCar. Ryan Broderick would be happy.
Okay.
Chase Briscoe is 24th ranked for season-long average finish. Are you fucking serious?
Average
Dang.
finish doesn't mean anything.
He's got. I was gonna say
He's ranked 19th in top fives.
Where's he at in actual Winston Cup standings?
Probably around 19th at best. Like,
he's
this
got the
is-
momentum. I'm telling you, this time of year, it's all
Momentum?
about momentum.
what momentum? Did he had a car
snuck
that didn't
in.
break?
He
He's
snuck
literally-
in.
He
He
is
snuck in.
straight middle of the night going in and robbing people from their playoff spots. He did it to Reddick. He did it to Larson.
If Larson
Chase
or
Briscoe's a lovable dude, but
yeah,
cut the fuck out. He hasn't been
If-
relevant since March.
if Larson, Cindric, and Suarez, if they would have made it in, they all had a better shot than Briscoe. I love Briscoe too, but just being
No,
real
he'll
here.
probably weasel his way into Phoenix, like Josh said, and probably win the championship. And then hope you're all fucking happy.
Listen, I'm here.
Make that car,
Hey,
wild
it's
card
fucking Tony
Giants.
Stewart.
Hey, Chris, I think it's time.
That's not even it. We're not drinking and dumping it right now.
You're about to
Yeah,
do that.
figure it out. This is that. I'm not you. Playoffs are stupid. And this is
That was perfect timing. That was perfect timing.
It's stupid that you have a Chase Briscoe. God love him. This is not an insult on him. I mean, actually, God probably doesn't love him, but we'll come down to that. So, playoffs are commercialized horseshit, kind of like Valentine's Day, Christmas, and Easter. Okay, everyone wants to celebrate them, but it's not that big of a deal. You're motorsports professional racing, right? Like,
Christmas not a big deal. Nobody celebrates that. It's just
it's commercialized. You're doing it. I get the entertainment value, the marketing side. That's literally what all these holidays are. Even Columbus Day, which apparently has changed. Hopefully, no one got time and a half today.
Christmas, Columbus Day. Yeah, they're like the same thing. I buy everybody gifts for Columbus Day. It's very commercialized.
My point: how many gifts you buying for Christmas? You're a
What does
sucker.
that have to do with playoffs? Get to your point.
I am getting there. So playoffs are entertainment marketing bullshit, just like most of these holidays. It's not real entertainment. It's not real. Okay, it's not real competitive entertainment. It's not like you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing the Packers in the playoffs, and all of a sudden the Lions come out to play defense for the Packers.
That's not
As
true.
you see,
That's bullshit.
you're right.
Because
The Lions would never
the
come out and
Li-
play
the-
defense.
Because the Lions are Corey LaJoy. They're not even involved.
The fact is, Corey LaJoy is still on the racetrack, very much involved.
But he's not in
these
the playoffs. He doesn't have a shot to win the title.
He's on the track with them, though, genius.
Yeah,
So-
that's the difference between racing and other sports.
Which is why playoffs and racing are stupid. Give you guys, so you have, like we just said, Briscoe ranked 24th of all playoff drivers, or of everyone. He's ranked 24th for average finish, 19th in top fives, non-factor since March. Crawling his way.
He had
Crawling
shot,
his way.
he had shots to win other races.
Clawing his way, nickel and diamond motherfuckers to get to the round of 8. You have Reddick sitting out. You have Larson sitting out. You have Kyle Busch sitting out. Are you serious right now? Cindric? We haven't heard of Cindric since Daytona. In fact, he even had a chance to make it in this week. Is horseshit. So, even Byron's not much better, but at least he's top 15. And, it's just the full season points. I get that you wouldn't have your drama, your whatever, but you have more respect, I think, overall. You've seen it. Guys racing for something. The races still matter, but you don't have these wild cards. You don't have a wheel hub breaking and kind of ruining your season. You don't have an engine failing for the first time in 70 months, 2 weeks in a row, or 2 out of 3 weeks to ruin your season if you're Kyle Busch. It's horseshit. It's all for money, and it's not real racing. No other major professional motorsports series does it. So why do it? You want to be amateur? Then go ahead. Go be amateur. That's all I got. Okay.
That's a fucking lame ass fire off.
Well, I really can't wait till Chase Briscoe gets the championship. Because he's the most deserving. At least last year, Larson most deserving. Chase Elliott probably the year before that. Truex, sure. Jimmy Johnson did not deserve 2016 championship. That's a fact.
I think most of the championship winners have been the strongest cars all year.
I don't think you're going to see it this year, though.
No, because there's too much
There's not been,
parity
I'll say-
this year.
Yeah,
there's too much parity this year. There's 20 guys that could go out and win every week. That's why this year is so much different.
Yeah.
That's why who gives a
Still
fuck about
too
shit,
much
to be
randomness.
honest.
Too much randomness. Like I could,
Not random.
you
It's
could
not
call me
random.
a traditionalist. I don't say full season points would be great. Never gonna happen. Chase points would be my compromise. 10 races, top 12, even top 16 if you want half the field to be involved. Best points finisher at the end. If you need that for your whatever. But like, if Chase Briscoe goes out and wins this week, he's in the championship 4. Good for him. Good for NASCAR. Good for whatever. That's
Flip
not
side.
how it works. That's not how it should work.
Side. Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, those guys could have went out, got wins. Go get wins.
No, I understand the playoff concept. The problem is they shouldn't have been in that situation. Chase Briscoe
Yeah.
would be a race
It's on their own.
champion
It's
afterthought.
on their own though. Why they're in that situation.
Well, and then by the time the
reset the
playoff,
points is why Chase Briscoe is passing now. Why Austin Cindric is in contention with them. They were not close in points until
They
the
could have had a
reset.
better regular season. They could have did better 26
But
other
you're missing
races
the point.
before that, where
If
they
you-
could have put themselves in a better position, like Chase Elliott.
But I'm not sure under the playoff version. Yes,
That's-
absolutely. I'm saying it's full season points or anything like it. They don't have to worry about that. They had a good enough season that these other guys wouldn't even be in contention with them. They
called
should
wild
not
card,
even be. Yeah, this isn't stick of ball sports. Like I said, the Buccaneers aren't playing against the Packers and the Lions defense at the same time. So now you have, if you want to go down the rabbit hole of Briscoe yesterday, I don't really think it's an issue, but Cole Custer is basically the Lions defense doing whatever he's doing. Who cares what he's doing? But he's there in the way doing whatever he's doing.
yeah,
I
I
get
think
they're going after stick and ball stuff. and they're not a stick and ball sport. Stop it. You can barely even get your fucking tires to hold up. Like,
They're in the same entertainment realm though.
they want to be,
They
but it
are.
doesn't work.
They are.
Well, it's
though.
not. I mean, like that. It's no different than, yes, being good at early season helps, but when it comes playoff time, it's like March Madness. When it gets playoff time, if you race good enough to get in the playoffs, playoffs are about who's best at the end of the year. And
Right.
if you get to the end of the year and if Kyle Busch was in these playoffs, or if he hadn't got kicked out, I mean, this would have been a terrible race for him anyway. He'd have been done here because
He finished
he
third.
hasn't been good the whole playoff thing. It's just like March Madness when you get college basketball and you get these 2 seeds knocked off by somebody that barely made it in just on
Right, but the difference
It's
is
on a whim.
that 2 seed is playing straight up with that 15 seed, versus here you have 30 other drivers out there doing whatever the hell it is that they're doing that could ruin your race.
I think your problem is that you're looking at the playoff champion as the full season champion.
That's how
It's
that's
a
how
playoff.
it's crowned.
It's a playoff.
But that's how it's crowned, though. When you say NASCAR champion,
It's the same thing. The Super Bowl champion's crowned as like the full season champion when
But
really
again-
they just want a tournament that they earn themselves to get
right?
into.
But they're playing
It's the
one
same thing with
at a
NASCAR.
time.
It's the same thing with NASCAR. You earned yourself to get into the tournament by 26 other races.
Right.
Yeah.
Your actual
But-
season champion is already Chase Elliott.
You still don't have to play the other 20-some teams in your tournament in the playoffs while trying to beat the team you're actually supposed to play.
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I don't think that matters at this
Josh
point.
just said Eric Jones was hitting every car out there, including Cindric. Did that have something to do with Cindric not advancing? In fact, it did.
Sucks
That's
to
like,
Well,
no,
but I mean,
that's,
yeah,
that's
but
the
I mean-
shitty part of it. Like, it doesn't
happened
have to be that way.
because Cindric was back there because Cindric wasn't running well. It didn't happen because if he'd have been up front, it probably wouldn't. He wouldn't have been around Eric.
But
You
my
have to
point
deal
is-
with the same thing if it was a full season points championship. You still got to
Right,
deal with the same
but
people. Guys that are running
laws
that are
of
32nd in
averages.
points,
Laws
completely-
of averages.
guys that are 32nd in points by this point in the season who, are 2,000 points back in the old Woodstock Cup thing, you still got to race against them too, so it doesn't
Right.
matter.
But if they wreck you, then instead of losing, and I'm getting reset to 3,000 ahead of you, and you reset with these other 9 guys, you have what you already had. So it's the whole point of the reset. You're really starting over with plus 40. Like Chase Elliott, you tell me so the round of 16 starts. He's only plus 40,
He's got a
Over
whole race
16th?
padded. He's basically got a whole race
but
padded.
he's only plus 40 over 16th in points.
Plus 46. Yeah.
I think this
a whole
year
race.
it's
I
easier.
think he's,
That's the whole
I think he's
race.
earned. I
Yeah.
think he's earned more than that, though. Is what I'm saying.
I don't think he has. He's only has one
He
more
has-
real win
He
than
has
anybody
5
else.
wins.
Now in the playoffs, but I'm saying going into the playoffs, he had one more win than the next than second. So
But here's the point.
Well,
Right
I think this year, I think it's like Jimmy was saying. I think it's easier to make that argument this year because there is so much parity,
Yeah.
and when there's that much parity, you're gonna have people sneak in.
and sorry, go ahead.
In any other year, it's gonna be basically the guys that have been running up front all year.
I do think if you continue to have this parity, if this car continues to do what NASCAR wants it to, then maybe you see the playoffs go away. Because
No.
then if you have 20 different winners, that's what NASCAR really wants. They want the drama of all that. It makes the races a little bit different.
And
Maybe they change the format then,
the-
but
the
most
other
seasons, the
part-
best driver's still winning at the end of the day.
And the other part of this, so there's 2 more points I have on this. So one, the broadcast yesterday. We talked about, from what I saw on Twitter and from what Jimmy said, they're so focused on the cut line, which is what NASCAR wants. They didn't even acknowledge where Harvick finished, or these other guys that were not playoff guys.
Harvick
Once
got
they
wrecked.
weren't, Harvick finished second.
Well, he was wrecking people.
What I'm saying is like
They
the
got past by
broadcast,
Christopher Bell, and yeah, that was it.
right? But I'm saying is they're not even announcing the race. They're so focused on the playoffs, which I get. They have to be. It's the focus. But you're missing everything else that's happening then.
There was nothing else going on. That's the
You
point.
still have to acknowledge the
Christopher Bell
fucker
was
to finish
like-
second.
No, you don't, because he's 3 seconds back of the leader and 2 seconds back of third place at that point.
Points, you're so locked in on the points, whatever cut line that it is,
Well, I
and
think
not the race in front of your face.
at a cutoff race, I think that's what everybody. I mean, that's what everybody's looking at. That's what everybody's viewing.
No, I
The
get why they're
roll.
doing it. I get why they're doing it. I don't know. I don't like it. And then say we have all these park issues, or anytime Phoenix, like last year, Larson had the most dominant season last year. He was not going to win the championship Phoenix without some weird ass caution with 20 to go. That's not how you should define your season long championship. You want game 7 moments. You don't just make them game 7 moments. Game 7 moments are special because they happen naturally.
No, they don't. They other
Yes,
stick
they
and
do.
ball sport, other stick and ball sports, they manipulate the way they add teams. They do all this different shit.
What are you? At
I
the
think-
bare minimum, game 7 moments, buzzer beater to win game 7 series in the
Oh,
NBA
Like
Finals.
that? Okay, sure.
I'm talking about that. I'm talking like game 7, and it started back with Homestead, or before that with Brian France. He goes, with Edwards and Stewart in 2011. We need game 7 moments. Does not mean you go out and make sure every year is a game 7 moment, because you know what that means? It's not special anymore. The reason why you remember Dawn 2003 is because it was the closest finish in NASCAR history, and it can't be replicated. You remember Ray Allen sinking it for the damn Heat because it was one of those things that got done there. Like, one of those moments. Or field goal, that Eagles Super Bowl. You remember that because it was special. If it was like that every day, it wouldn't feel the same anymore. And that's what NASCAR has done. Every year we go to Phoenix, and champions will be crowned today because it has no choice.
Yeah, but I
There's
think we
no-
also are in turn creating other organic moments leading up to all that for the other 35 races.
Maybe. I'm just saying. My compromise.
It makes every
Like,
race.
I'm
mean
fully
more.
aware that the playoffs are never going away, or at least some form of the playoffs are never going away.
Yeah.
At least not when NASCAR is the way it is, unless it just falls off the map like ARCA. But that's not going to happen either. Don't
it could.
make it. It could, but they don't make it. I mean, that's true. NASCAR is ARCA, so just don't make it a one race shootout because
I agree on that.
there's no guarantee a wheel flies off. Like we have all these issues this year. I was just specific again this year. There's no guarantee that any of those 4 guys finish. Like what? Like
Well,
that's motor racing at the basic level though. Like
I could be down with a 3 race.
I would be more okay.
I'd
Give
be
me
fine
3
with that.
races.
Yeah.
Because
give me
then
3
you
races
still have
for that.
the reason the chase was fun because you could still you had to win and you had the point spread, but you could still point race. You could still be concerned. You could be a Ryan Blaney who's weaseling his way through this
I think
because he deserves it.
Yeah, I think I talked about this before, where I'd rather them flip the round of 16 and the round of 4, where because really the round of 16, it's like those bottom guys are like your wild cards.
Sure.
It's like your wild card round. So make that a 1 race thing, and that's from 8th down to 16th, and they got to fight for
Right, and I'd be more
four-
okay
four
with that.
spots.
I just
Or-
don't like the idea of going to Phoenix and you have a bad day. You unload shitty like Denny Hamlin did at Martinsville in the spring, and your whole season was for nothing. Basically.
It's not for nothing though. You
I
made
mean,
it
at
there.
the end of the day, you made it. No,
You still
for
made it there.
nothing.
Because you got to also remember at the end of the day too, you could be a guy in 4th place, but you were really, if you're running for points, you're going in
Right,
there
I understand
for
that, but-
nothing anyway.
I understand that if you're Chase Briscoe and you get the Phoenix in the
Nobody
championship
gives a
4,
shit.
then he could do whatever the fuck he wants,
Well-
and he's made out better. But that's part of my problem too, I guess.
Now, what what they could do is the opposite of what the NFL would ever do, but starting it at 12 instead of 16, like Jimmy said, doesn't allow those wild cards in there to come in there and
Yep.
But
absolutely mix it up. But I like the 6. I like those 4 cars, the wild cards coming in there and having a shot at
They
it.
still have a shot because if they have a 1 race, say 1 race at fucking Talladega or something, right?
Right.
That's how they open the playoffs.
yeah, but you just ended a season by Daytona.
I'm talking like big picture. Yeah, they could change the schedule up. So it doesn't even have to be Talladega. It could be whatever. But if they, I think Chris just died. I think he had a hernia. But if they did like a 1 race playoff and it's like, all right, the top 6 are locked in. They have a first round bye. You guys earned it.
You know what I mean? Or whatever. You guys earned it. You guys earned enough points in the first 26 races. You get a bye. Sets you up for the actual round, and then you let the wild cards hash it out in a one race playoff. Kind of like how baseball does now. Now they do like a 3-game series for the wild card play-in, and then you get to the real playoffs. Really, it's called a wild card for a reason because you're giving those bottom teams a shot, but they got to go earn it. I'd rather see that. That would be one change I would make to the playoffs. I do agree on that. It's at the end of the day, though. I think what the point that's being missed is that it's a playoff. It's not a full season championship.
Right.
It's a tournament at the end of the season.
The part that's being missed is it doesn't need to be that.
But why not?
I mean,
what's the difference in the prestige if you win it by points or if you win it? You win a tournament. Well, who cares?
Prestige-wise, no,
you're
still
going to remember a guy. I still remember Harvick winning 7 races the other year, and he didn't even make the Final Four.
Right, and I guess that's where my frustration comes from. Because it's so off the wall for racing. Like, I get if we're playing football, then whatever.
Pressure situation and being able to execute as a team.
There's just so many things.
That's what it's all about.
In racing, there's so many variables. And I'm glad to see Ryan Blaney. Like, we talk about Ryan Blaney. If Kurt Busch isn't out, he's not even in the playoffs. Second in points is not even in the playoffs. If Kurt Busch isn't missing races.
19 different winners, and he still has a shot. He's probably has a good shot making the Final Four.
I was gonna say we were talking about that earlier, Chris. You were saying like you talk about like the best car all year, the best. I mean, it's probably Blaney.
Blaney's been right there.
He's just been extremely consistent, and it's the only thing.
And Logano's been very good too.
The best case scenario that would make me satisfied in the universe for this year is if Ryan Blaney finishes second at Phoenix to Kyle Larson.
I don't think Kyle Larson finishes Phoenix.
If Kyle Larson wins Phoenix and Ryan Blaney finishes second, that'd be awesome. Especially if Ryan Blaney doesn't win between now and then. Why is he smiling creepily like that?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Something I'm just going to throw up at the end of the show.
No, because
I think
5-car wins the owner championship. Blaney wins driver's championship. Doesn't have to win a race.
Larson in the owners championship, by the way.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If Larson wins Phoenix and Blaney finishes second, they both get the championship for their respective parties. Right. Whatever, I'm here for it. Like, I don't know. I just like a whole racecraft thing. You mentioned earlier racecraft. I think a season championship racecraft thing.
You had
a different kind of driver.
You had a season championship with 26 other races.
Yeah, but no one gives a shit.
Then that's on NASCAR to emphasize that more.
Yeah.
Right. Then maybe that's what you do.
Yeah, Boom. NASCAR maybe needs to emphasize
this is post-season. This is post-season. It's different.
Right. If they separate it that way, then
I could live with it.
If they were marketed the same way, though. Like,
it's marketed the same way as any other sport.
Well, no one gets a regular season championship in any other series. I mean, I guess
to earn your way, you got to have a good, long regular season to earn yourself into the postseason, and then you got to perform in the postseason. It's like any other sport. And I get your point of,
but it's not like any other racing series.
Who cares? They're different. They've always been different. They've always been the trailblazers.
Well,
they're really the sheep following the other sports.
It's not going anywhere either because this is. I mean.
They got to.
No, it's not going anywhere. It's too much of a moneymaker. I get it.
Speaking of,
I'm gonna keep yelling at my clouds. It's fine.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I understand your point, and you're not alone in it. But
like, if the sprint car, if the World of Outlaws, you accidentally said earlier, if the World of Outlaws do it next year, holy fuck, dude.
They're never gonna do that.
No, I'm saying it's like, say they did, it would look so ridiculous.
Yeah, because it's a totally different type of racing series, though.
I understand that. I would say
they raced 16 plus.
If IndyCar did it, it would look ridiculous.
I don't think it would. Not for IndyCar.
IndyCar would lose their mind. F1 fans would lose their mind. They had the same kind of.
And that's why they don't do it, because they know their fans like something different.
They like pure
NASCAR fans are totally different. They want to see 18 fucking short tracks where they're shoving people out of the way.
NASCAR fans are Instagram monkeys.
Like I said, we hated mile and a half last year. Now,
I have
media personalities And fans alike are all saying, get rid of the fucking Roval when we were just praising it 3 years ago.
Yep.
And it just produced one of the most entertaining races of the past couple of weeks. Even without the chaos at the end.
I think NASCAR needs to get to.
NASCAR fans suck is just what it is at the end of the day.
NASCAR
You're
needs to
always
stop
gonna have
listening
something
to
complain.
the fans.
They need to, though, because then if they don't listen to the fans, then they don't have
That's who
anybody to
That's
watch.
who keeps the lights
That's who
on.
keeps the lights on, exactly.
Except they
And right-
also go the wrong way when they do listen to it. They take the loud majority, like, oh yeah, look, whatever it is. They do
leaning
weird shit.
into the younger audience. They are saying fuck you to the older generation, but you want to know why? Because they're not the ones that are going to keep it going in 10 years. They need to make new fans, and they're doing that.
Well, and I mean, honestly, too, for do
I guess
that,
Josh was right.
they
Still
fucking
demo debris on TV.
yeah. They, back when it was the old way, how boring was it when, Mark Martin was just out there dominating every race, every weekend, or, whoever would go on these big long tears of just win after win after win. This is different, and this has implications. Even the stage racing, like I know Chris you're that one too. Like the same people that had playoffs are the ones that don't like stage racing, but they gave more. Every lap means more every race.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just like a good old ass whooping. Like I would love to see Matt Kenseth's fucking kick
Once
your
in a
ass.
while is fine.
No matter what you do, like 2003 season.
You just had that though.
That's what the World 600's for. You still get
Yeah.
that.
No, I meant just like the 2003 season. Like I guess I don't know. Maybe it's just the
Did
way
Larson do that last year and Truex the year before, where they led like every fucking lap.
Right, but the points didn't reflect it. That's what I'm saying. That's my point. Like they deserve to win by 8 million points and be like, oh,
For one
you
race?
shit.
For one race?
No, for how good their seasons were.
No, we're talking about one race. You're talking about one good old ass whooping.
Well, I mean, I like those too. Like when Harvick was smoking them, but like season long when Kenseth won one race and just locked it up a month early. But you know what? He earned that motherfucker. Like let him have it.
So here's the thing.
He was there every week.
Chase Elliott's pretty much doing that right now. He's
Mhm.
been the most dominant driver. If he's kicking ass that much, he has nothing to worry about. That's what I'm saying. The
Until
best
Phoenix
drivers,
when he blows the
the
tire
best
with 40 to
drivers,
go.
these guys that are, yeah, but when had somebody blown a tire with 4 to go in the championship 4 race? It hasn't fucking happened.
You had a caution with 20 to go last year that flipped
And
the
the best
field around
driver
and took
still
it away.
won. The most dominant driver of the year still won.
But
He went
under
out
your
and
whole
performed.
format was
You still,
this random ass shit.
that guy
He was
is
the fourth
still
best car that day.
that guy
first
is
and ran
still
away.
there at the end of the year every fucking time because they are kicking ass.
Well, and he's still, I mean, not technically, but he's almost got to buy into the next round anyway on his points lead because he
Right.
was, he got so many
You
points.
can only
from-
have 3
Right,
winners.
but I'm
You
just
can only have 3
saying.
winners, and there's 4 spots.
You're taking weird angles on it. I'm just saying.
No, we're not. We're taking logical angles at it.
And so am I. You're missing the point I'm making though. Kenseth could just be locked up. He did win.
He didn't win. A fucking E3.
Rockingham. He beat Casey Kane at Rockingham by a fender. That was 04. No, he won Rockingham 03 too. Fun fact.
Good old ass whooping by Kenseth though.
It was.
I won 1 race.
Yeah, but he just
That's
racecrafted his way to it.
It's an ass whooping, right?
But I mean, and to the Kenseth thing, I mean, to the reverse side of that, I mean, like you said, Harvick dominated all year and didn't even make it to the championship 4. It's about
You
being
have
good at this time.
Any season, you could have both sides of the fucking coin.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what point system you use. It doesn't matter. You could have that no matter what.
I think this year it just makes it easier to have that argument because there's been
Yep.
so much. I mean, there's
Cheers
all
to you.
these winners. I think it's easy this year to say, well, this, there's no way Briscoe should be here.
It was Vegas in 03. That's right. Anyway,
We're beyond that. We're beyond that.
I was just thinking out loud.
But no, I agree with you, Josh. It's just there's so much parity this year. It's very easy to make all these arguments, and it's fine. If it continues to have a lot of parity in the next 2-3 years, then yeah,
It's not
maybe we
going
look.
away.
we could look at changing it, maybe the format a little bit. But
Nope.
the playoffs aren't going away because it's the
Marketing, entertainment
season.
pays the bills.
It's the and they got to compete with the NFL, bud. So this is helping it. They got to lead it. They lead it. They have a perfect opportunity right now where they lead into the game of the week for NFL. Every week now they're on NBC. Their playoffs lead in to the NFL. They're gaining fans that way.
I did
Okay.
see a.
I
I watched the race more than I watched the Eagles game this week, and I'm a diehard Eagles fan.
Clearly not.
I am though. I was watching both, but I was paying more attention to the race.
I did see a graphic, I think on Twitter. I don't know who put it up, but it was the top 8 drivers and the amount of money their sponsors paid. And I think it's 7 of the top 8 highest paid sponsors in the sport are all in the playoffs. And it's like, it's
That's
hard
good.
to say this shit
You
ain't
want-
rigged when you get something like that.
No,
happen,
no, but racing costs money. We talked about
Yeah.
it with the Outlaws. So, but if you look at like the top 8 drivers in the playoffs, they're all with big teams. They have big sponsors. They have big corporate sponsors. I mean, that's
The only way
that's
you bring
that's
more
where the
of those in-
tinfoil hat goes on. But
The only way you bring more in is if you're leading into the NFL game of the week. You know what I mean? That's lucrative for these sponsors. All this hype, having millions of eyes on it. They have about 2 million people watching these races every week now. Even with competing with the NFL, it's pretty good. You're you're nationally broadcasted. If Not saying that they wouldn't be able to do that without the playoffs, but the playoffs definitely add the extra layer.
sure. And again, at the end of the day, I'm watching every race. Whether I guess I didn't watch it, but I want to watch it on tape delay just because I love racing.
Mhm.
I don't need to see carnage. I don't need to see a close finish. I just love racing in general.
Right.
So, but I'm not the guy they're going after, right? So, the guys are going
You're a
after
diehard
are
fan that's you're gonna be there no
any
matter
race
what.
fan. I don't care if it's whatever. It could be fucking YouTube.
The way you
fucking
bring in more
on
sponsors
sleds
is
down the street.
bringing in the casual fan.
And they love chaos because chaos sells, and that's how you get the Royal Bowl, and that's how you
and I was
get
gonna
all
say,
of it.
I think the
Like, I
big
get
thing.
it. I just don't like it.
I think the big thing that they've got to stop doing is using yellow flags to affect the playoffs. Because I was on Fox Sports like Friday night on replay. They had the Coke 600 the year I think Harvick won it. The year Junior ran out of fuel and Harvick won it. I don't remember what year. I think 2013 maybe, 2012. But watching the last lap of that or the last 2 laps of that, the absolute fucking carnage and cars everywhere and no yellow was ever thrown. I was like, that's what NASCAR needs to get back to. They weren't on the track. They weren't on the racing surface. There was cars everywhere. No fucking yellow. And the race played out perfect. But, when it gets to this playoff race, 100% was affected by a yellow flag.
Right, and I'm fine with that when the caution is warranted. You have to throw it. It's there. You have to do it, right?
And it completely. I mean, it completely turned the field upside down. It didn't just change a couple of spots. I went from
a lot of pit strategy and stuff.
I went from being last in DraftKings to winning it in one lap. I was dead last on that DraftKings, and then in one lap, I won the damn thing. But I mean, it was all caused by a caution. Or should the caution been thrown? Yes, but it should have been thrown. Should they have waited that long to throw it?
No, I think at that point they could have let it go.
Yeah, I mean they had let it go that far, but I really do think they said,
Also,
this is...
on a road course, I feel like you can do a localized yellow and be able to get that off. You just if they had an F1 type of system on road courses where it's like, hey, you got to slow down, you got to back your pace off in this section of corners, and have somebody just come and grab that off. Then we're not, you have everybody maintaining their gap for the most part, instead of doing a full course yellow for something like that. I think NASCAR needs to figure that out. For
if NBC wouldn't
have road courses, they need to figure that out.
If NBC wouldn't have showed it, they wouldn't have thrown that caution.
Right. NASCAR. Let's not get it twisted. NASCAR wanted that caution to come out for exactly what happened. Because
they
want to see now. They're going to show all the ads.
I hate when people say they wanted the caution or they wanted something.
The
When
NASCAR marketing sign, love that caution.
yes, I could give you that. I don't think they wanted to see it. I just think, hey,
I don't think they wanted to see their golden boy get sent through the grass, but it sells. And then him having an attitude sells better.
Well, and
So
I don't think the road course races this year, the way the racing has been, that's not on NASCAR. That's these drivers. That's on these drivers.
Oh, right, yeah, right.
and they're going to blame it on NASCAR because they're manufacturing all this hype or all the sense of urgency.
They're deciding to drive the way they are.
Right.
And I think that's what I was saying with like Ryan Blaney. He was taking race at these other drivers. Like, what are you doing? Like, stop driving and proving you're a dumbass. like just don't. Like, you just now decided to go drive in deep. Like, I don't know. Like, the drivers know. They police themselves. That's what they need to get back to doing. So this isn't all a NASCAR problem.
Yep.
It's this situation, but that's why when Jimmy's like, oh, they no, these are professional drivers. They know how to drive their cars, but they know what they can get away with, and they're gonna do it because it's chaos, and who the fuck cares? And that's just the way it is.
I just don't think it's 100% that. I think there's some of that, but then there's just some guys not understand. It's a totally different situation late race than it was in the beginning of the race. From the last time that they had a restart, the track has changed, their car has changed. There's a lot of different stuff going on. I do think there's a couple of people that don't give a fuck, but I do also think there's just a point of where you're racing hard and you're going in on different lines, your car's handling different, and there's some of that.
Yeah,
I think that's underestimated. I think they want to race hard, put on a good show, but I don't think they necessarily want to take people out. They know they got to race the guy next week.
I'm intrigued, though, kind of spinning off that a little bit. Did you see how Gregson hit the wall when he got turned?
No.
He straight backed in.
Yep. I was wondering that.
I saw it. I saw that highlight. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Because he hit it probably harder than Bowman did.
It looked like it, but
because he hit it straight in, but now it's a tire barrier or whatever that is. So
right,
tire barrier is pretty safe.
Just saying, Noah, he has an Xfinity Championship to race for. If he feels any goofiness, I don't think you see him sitting out. He definitely hit harder than Kurt Busch did, at least visually.
Kurt Busch has had assassins after him for years.
Kurt Busch was in the box this week. He was on the pit box all weekend. So it was good to see him back at the track.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I was listening on Sirius XM coming back from port. They were rebroadcasting practice and qualifying. They were talking to him, and Claire B. Lang was asking him, hey, like, when can we see you back at the track? How close are you? He's like, I'm just taking it day by day. I don't think you see him back this year, obviously, I think at this point. But who knows about next year?
I'll say that's the. I think if you do see him back next year, he's probably on a different team.
Nah, if he's back next year, he's there.
Do we find it weird that Ty Gibbs hasn't been announced in the 18 yet?
No.
Yes.
I find it very weird.
Yep.
That should have happened immediately.
No, because he's going. I don't know. Because he's going for the Xfinity Championship. I don't think they want to take away from that.
I don't think that has anything to do with it. They already announced Noah Gragson in the other car before.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I think it's a Mars Candy probably sponsorship deal.
They're done. They're out. They're out.
Right. They're going out.
Still have
but
4 races left.
They're saying, before you do anything with their 18, they're gonna.
Maybe.
Right. Yeah, I can see it. Right. I agree with Josh there. But if you're Ty Gibbs, everyone knows.
And it's Joe Gibbs. He was an NFL coach. He respects players and their numbers. Maybe he's just giving Kyle Busch the respect he deserves and say, you finish out this year. After you're gone, we'll announce the new driver. We're not going to replace him. We're going to let Kyle move on and then move him up. So it's not Ty Gibbs replacing Kyle Busch. It's Ty Gibbs filling in the 18.
My point was, I think Kurt Busch's thing, not Kyle Busch's thing.
Kurt Busch's thing is a factor in why Ty Gibbs has not been announced yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you.
I think that there's something weird there. I think that's
If Kurt Busch leaves, I think they dump a ton of money to get Reddick out of that RCR deal. That's the play.
Yeah, I think that's all tying in together right now, and that's why they haven't announced Ty in that 18. Because I think, if anything, maybe who has more money to go buy Tyler Reddick out of a deal for 1 year, it would be Gibbs instead of 2311.
That would be Toyota.
Well, Toyota in general, they're all the same.
Exactly. Because they're not going to put Reddick to Gibbs for a year. Here we go.
Shock guy. I'm good with that. I think we should. I think we should look into that next year's local sprint car. Let's go
I
sponsor
think we
a
should
car.
let David Smeal drive it.
No, absolutely not.
Are you serious?
Absolutely not. Our money would go down the drain. First race. I'm with you, Chalk guy. I like that
we work
idea.
something out. Plus, off season's coming. We're gonna need you on the show here soon, bud.
Yeah.
Oh, NASCAR.
NASCAR car.
They must be paying you big money down there, Lincoln, bud.
I was gonna say
Jeez.
that Chalk guy should fucking take it off, man.
How many shirts you sell last week?
Cody wears probably a cheap gig.
Yeah, still a couple mil.
Ryan Vargas. Let's go.
Yeah, we need to
That's
start.
true.
We need to get into that next year. I think we have a couple drivers that we like to support, so maybe we'll try to
Talk
get
about
that.
it. But he's like over like 6 cars. He has Legends, Street Stocks.
Yeah,
He had a whole bunch of them he's telling us about.
Truck guy's the legend. Truck guy's the legend. We hope to get you on the show here soon.
Yes,
Hey man, last Lincoln race this week, so have fun with it. Last time you get the third chalk up in the air for a little bit. And hopefully we see you back at Natty. All right, let's go into drink it and dump it for asphalt as we wrap it up. Why are you laughing? You want to go first, bud?
Sounds
Go
like
ahead.
Chris wants to go.
Sounds like he wants to go first.
Dumping on the playoffs.
Of course.
See, I was right.
Chalk Guy 4 Legends 1-358 and 1-410 he sponsors. Shout out to him. What do you want to drink it to?
Kyle Larson's 2021 season.
I like that. That was nice. That's nice.
He's washed up. He doesn't want it as much.
Josh, you want to go next?
Yeah, my drink is Chase Briscoe. Racing his way into the playoffs.
You gotta love a Savage.
Had a lot of help, but
you can't fault him for a shitty system.
And in his Twitter afterwards, where they were trying to.
No, he's awesome.
Did you see where Parker Kligerman was trying to pull up the telemetry of showing how he sent it, and then Chase Briscoe just got on there and was put the meme where he's just gonna send it. He fully admitted, he's yes, I fucking sent it hard.
Right, you gotta love a guy like that. I attacked the playoffs, but it's not against Chase Briscoe. He's a cool dude, and I enjoyed it. He just tries to piss out of everything. Sprint car guys.
Who you dumping it out for?
My dump is Chris's take on playoff racing.
You're an idiot.
I agree. I understand the take, but
Go back to England, you bum.
I understand it, but
Take Brady with you.
my drink it's gonna be Colleague Racing. They had 2 top 10 cars or top 5 cars. I'm sorry, 4th and 5th. Justin Haley looked really good. I was really surprised with how good. I was a little surprised. I wasn't surprised that he was running well. I was really surprised how well he was running. You know what I mean? Top 5. Allmendinger let one get away, but he could have swept the weekend. But
I think
shout out to them and him, and also Allmendinger getting announced full time in the car next year.
I'll say that's what I was about to say. Somehow they talked Allmendinger into because wasn't he the one that a couple years ago said he would never run full time because he hated it?
We could already chalk him up into the playoffs next year because he's going to get one of those. So, shout out Colleague Racing, definitely drink it for them. Cheers.
Before you do your dump it, nugget on Colleague Racing, Justin Haley's looked very impressive the last month. I think for what they were the first part
They're
of the year.
getting better. Yeah.
I think next year, big year for college racing as a whole. I think AJ
Yeah.
coming over is going to help them, and I'm just saying.
Even
Well,
I mean, it's just adding more parity into next year already. I mean,
Absolutely.
College
Dinger-
racing doesn't fuck around.
Dinger
They're
running
there to
full-time
win.
cup. Yeah. I mean, Dinger running full-time cup, like Jimmy said, you automatically there's a new playoff driver.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I mean, Chicago.
If
any
he
of the
doesn't
road
win,
courses.
then something's gone terribly wrong.
Yeah, and you can't count him out. The Xfinity Series this year has proven it. I mean, he's in the Final Four. You know, he's not anybody just to like. Oh, he's a non-factor on mile and a halves and other stuff. He could win anywhere. He's really honed in the oval craft. You know what I mean? Because when he first came into NASCAR, he had a road racing background and everything, and that's where he was strong at. But he was always like 30th at fucking mile and a half. I don't
Yep.
think you see that anymore. I think you see him up there flirting with top tens as long as that team keeps it together.
I think
And
it's
they
big for him. I think it's big for Colleague. I think he's going to make the whole program better. They're
Yeah.
already making gains.
They already
He's
have.
Been,
Yeah.
He's been in the car consistently, minus a couple races the last 2 months, and I think you're seeing some of that with Justin Haley being up there and things like that. So like,
I do think Justin Haley definitely. There was kind of some thought that maybe he wouldn't even be in that car next year, but he's got to perform next year. If he doesn't, they're going to find another driver.
right.
I think
But
there's
maybe.
plenty of people they could go
He's getting
find
better.
to put in that car that would perform as well as he is, maybe better.
Colin could be the track house the next season.
Yeah.
So, and my dump it is to NASCAR fans. Pick a fucking lane, man. Pick a fucking lane. What do
I'm
you
with
want?
you on that one. I agree.
What do you want? What do you want? I mean,
You're
I
never gonna be
understand
happy.
this new car has changed a lot of things, but Jesus Christ, like you're just not happy ever, and it's gonna kill the sport, straight up. Just you don't have to be happy with everything, but you don't have to fucking slam everything either. It's so annoying. I can't even look at Twitter half the time because you could have a great race and people are tearing it down. And it's good that people are talking about it. No such thing as bad publicity, but the amount of let's get rid of the Roval. I could understand getting rid of Indianapolis because Indianapolis is a great oval and we only go there once a year. But I don't want to see 2 Charlotte races. I'm sorry. I like the Roval. You had a lot of different stuff there going on. I like the road courses. Do we need 10 road courses? No. I think they have the perfect amount of road courses right now. You wanted more variety. You got more variety. Now you bitch. You hated mile and a half last year. Now you want more of them. Pick a fucking lane. Shut the fuck up. Just watch and enjoy it.
And we're canceled. Let's go.
Enjoy it for what it is. You know what I mean? If you want to watch real racing, go watch some fucking sprint cars, bud. Because that's what we do.
Get the fire off of out there.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But I'm just I'm
No,
so tired of it with NASCAR fans, man.
100% agree. I mean, last year it was like, oh, these cars can't touch each other. If they touch each other, the race is over. And now this year it's like, well, it's just a demolition derby out there. They got exactly what they wanted, and now it's
NASCAR is always going to have its flaws, man. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, they have some safety issues with this new car, absolutely. But it's not a quick fix. They're working with the drivers now. They should have listened to it earlier. But you can't expect a sanctioning body to be perfect all the time.
Right.
You can criticize them, but to continue to just rain on it all the time and just say everything sucks is so frustrating.
And you know what that means? That means it's not making you happy, so you should probably find something else to do.
But they won't.
I could sit here and launch about the playoffs, whatever. At the end of the day, I'm still watching it. I'm still supporting the drivers. I connect with guys that came up through the dirt side, and I mean, obviously dirt racing's the passion.
Mm-hmm.
But NASCAR, I mean, I'm not getting any younger here. I've known it all my life. So embrace it and fucking deal with it.
I feel bad for like what
And
you
be
know,
constructive. That's the problem. They're not constructive in a criticism.
Constructive,
They just
yeah.
shoot the shit. It's like, hey, can you just say something intelligent? No, fuck you. Like, well, that doesn't answer anything.
Just see the amount of stuff about getting the Roval off the schedule. Like it was so out of left field to me, where I'm like, why, man? Like,
It's the same people that complain about Pocono. Like, leave Pocono alone.
Pocono's great if you just appreciate it for what the fuck it is.
Right.
NASCAR
It's
gives
just
you
not
the variety
Daytona.
that you've been asking for forever, and now you want the same thing over and over.
Like I'm saying is like just in general, like for years, even before this year when we were there, like, it was like, oh well, Pocono sucks.
That was one of the best Pocono races I've ever been to.
What I'm saying is, everyone's like, Pocono sucks. Like, well, it's different. Indy Oval, it's different. Let it be.
Right.
Just let it be a hard race. Like,
Yeah, we
can
would all
just let
change.
it be.
There's a handful of things we would all change about NASCAR, but we don't need to harp on it, and we all just got to appreciate it for what it is.
I'm tired of hearing I'm tired of hearing drivers bitch about like the safety. Chris, earlier in the year, you had pictures of fucking Richard Petty's car in the seat, and this, what they were running.
You mean when he was
Richard
hanging
Petty's
outside?
probably walking around slapping every NASCAR driver he can find that's bitching about safety, and it drives me crazy because then they get out there on the track when Kyle Larson fucking Wile E. Coyote, Bowman, was it Bowman, where he just blew the turn.
Mhm.
And I mean, just hit him at like 100 miles an hour.
No,
No, it was
Dylan.
Ty Dillon.
Dylan.
Ty Dillon. I mean, he wasn't worried about safety.
No.
No,
I-
for sure. But I mean, Chalk Guy says
So,
it pretty well
moral
here.
of the story, get to a race. Wherever
Yeah,
it's at.
I can
Local
watch
track.
NASCAR in person, but
Get
TV,
out there and watch a race in person. It
it's
changes
a
your life.
perfect excuse to take a nap, watch the first 20 laps, and wake up and watch the last 20. And here's the thing: you could do that with or without stage racing. That's how NASCAR has always been. Me,
Fact.
I'm more glued to the TV watching every lap than I am when it wasn't. When it was 10, 15 years ago, though.
I'll sleep
do-
just much the same. Moral story: go to your local track. Lincoln Speedway, Williams Grove,
Yes,
best track. Port Royal, anywhere.
it should encourage you to get out to your local track.
Pour
and go
one
watch-
out for Irwindale, and for the 14th time. But just get out to the track. Like, just get out to the track.
Chalk, I
Dirt
agree.
guys-
Yours made it better. I agree.
Dirt guys are most always going to think stage racing makes it better.
Yeah. It breaks it up. It
I mean,
makes
I
it
get
like-
it. I get it. I get it. I
But
can
then
live
you
with
also have the
stage
pitch
racing.
strategy involved. I think. I
I've
think
moved past fighting stage racing. It's not
especially. I like stage
even
racing,
worth
especially
arguing.
on road courses.
Stay
See, I'm the opposite. If I was going to change one thing,
he's going after it.
I'd get rid of stage racing on road courses. That's the one
Same.
thing I'd change. I'm fine with
Same.
stage racing except for road courses because I think
Maybe you don't need it.
you don't need it.
You don't need it, right? Because the strategy with road racing is magnified. I think the stage racing makes it more obvious because you have the flip flopping.
You
But
got
if you don't have it, you have to beat the caution.
because then there's less points at
No,
hand.
you still need the stage
you-
racing.
yeah,
Don't throw the
you-
caution for the stage racing
Yeah.
at road courses.
Don't bunch them back up.
Okay, I could agree with that.
That's my only thing. I can live with it otherwise.
So good point. So I went to Dover before stage racing and fell asleep on Truex lapped everybody but like the top 5 cars. I used to go to Dover all the time when it was a 500-mile race. Holy shit, it would be a 5-6 hour race. You know what I mean? And then they finally shortened it to 4. I think that's the other thing too. Like maybe you don't need stage racing if you just made the races shorter, like Xfinity. I think if you made them that length and you only had a few handful that were 500, your 500 milers, your big races, you could get away without having to do stage racing. But I think stage racing is a good remedy for all that. Makes it a whole day, makes your money feel worthwhile. But yeah, I agree. When it was just long drawn out and you're lapping everybody, it's not fun anymore. It's just kind of like you're there just to get drunk.
It's not feasible anymore, but I'd love to see them shorten all of the races, but run Xfinity and run the top 2 series on the same day.
I could get down with that. I like that too. But I don't know. Well, this has been fun, guys. This is I did not expect us to go over 2 hours, but
It's been a while since we had the OGs all back together.
yeah, the OGs back together talking about we finally got Chris to fire off about the playoffs. I'm glad that you really told us how you feel.
You just wait. Also, don't cut yourself sharpening broadheads, boys.
Just watch your fingers, everybody. There's just a lot of ways to take them off, and
I have a lot of ways to take fingers off.
before we go here, Chalk Guy says, I think NASCAR should run heats and features, just longer laps and sprints. I agree. That's why I like the stage racing. I just think get rid of qualifying and all that shit. You get practice and then have heat races.
I think Martinsville would be way better if they did that format.
Oh my God, yeah.
Can you imagine Martinsville with heats and a feature?
And you get your brakes that you need. You get your piss brakes. That's why I love. I mean, that's one thing that's nice about the dirt track. You know what I mean? You get your built-in brakes. You know what I mean, and then you get to watch a nice feature. So, when it's just cars going around for fucking 4 hours, it's cool if you're into that. It's not a bad thing. I'm not slamming it, but you tend to lose attention. It's one reason why IMSA is not on NBC on a Sunday when NASCAR or when football's on. You know what I mean? There's the difference. Yeah, you have your diehard road racing fans and stuff like that, your IndyCar and stuff like that. You have your diehard fans, but IndyCar's growing a little bit. Don't get me wrong; it's a little bit different, but it's why NASCAR is what everybody strives to be in motorsports, whether you like it or not. So
Same argument could be applied. Tie it back to the dirt stuff, to why no one's leaving the World of Outlaw Tour, because sprint car drivers.
No, that's it. That's the spot to be. That's the pinnacle.
World of Outlaws.
Yes.
Champion. Right. Same idea. So they can do whatever they want. Oh, get.
Yeah. Let's do one more thing before we leave. 5-0. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. That's right. I'm going to be there at the Eagles-Steelers game in a couple weeks. I can't wait.
If the Steelers win that game, you might as well just, be bored.
Yeah,
you can't say the other half. But
I might go grab a 5-gallon bucket of paint.
Fair enough. Samil will be unbearable.
No, they're not going to lose to them. They're going to
No shot.
Don't say that.
I do think they're going to lose. I hate to say it. I know Truck Guy's going to be upset with me, but they're due for a loss. I think they're going to lose to Dallas.
That's going to be a hell of a game.
It's going to be a good game. I think Dak is supposed to come back
this week.
So, I think so.
If Dak comes back, that helps your chances.
If there's a defense if there's a defense that can contain him, it's the Cowboys.
And if it's Cooper Rush, we definitely lose. We're gonna
Jalen Hurts is one bad hit away from the Eagles season going right down their fucking drain.
Nah, Jalen Hurts is so smart with the way he takes hits, and he's so strong.
So was Tua.
Tua.
Yeah, Tua was smart.
Tua has the more scrambled brain than Casey Kane right now. So,
Wolf. Okay.
All right, we gotta go.
Out.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We are out. Fly Eagles, fly. We will.
Travis
will
be seeing you soon.
Yes.
Not Saturday.
Natty Open.
Soon.
Natty Open. Take it easy, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.